Nerdrotic.com.
Gotta start doing this to Streamlabs. It'll sound better once I get my computer fixed, the other one, because I need two for this show now. Hi everyone, welcome to Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler. Come from my mom's vagina. I do. And this is episode, what number is it? 320?
334.
334. Wow, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Nooners, but it's only X-Ray Girl's second.
My second.
Yeah.
I broke it in. I'm getting used to it. And yeah. I'll be a pro at this soon.
That's good. That's good. Practice makes perfect. That's what they say. And we are also joined by Chris Gore. What's up, man?
Feeling good, Gary. Maybe I dodged a bullet by not being involved in the new G4. I don't know.
I'm thinking you did. You know what? What's great is the timing of your documentary is now going to be perfect. You were worried, like, we've got the new documentary and there's the new G4. It couldn't have happened better for you, dude.
I wonder if the network will last until its 1 year anniversary. I mean, I saw.
I don't know.
Because the network launched on November 21st last year, and I don't know, man. It's weird. And then not a lot of people are talking about it. I saw Ryan did a video that Pereira announced he's leaving in October.
Yeah, we read that on Real BBC. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so Pereira's leaving of his own accord, it sounds like, the way it was worded.
Yeah, getting the F out. Poor Kevin Pereira.
Yeah, no, dude, he's the most talented guy that I had the pleasure to work with when I was at G4. The guy was like born to be on TV. Also a stand-up guy, like off camera. You know, you don't see him getting in weird fights on Twitter because he doesn't give a shit. Like, he's just good to everybody and can't say enough nice things about him. And I don't know, man, I'd like to see him do something, you know, like he was doing that Pointless podcast for a while, which was very good. He would just do one-on-one interviews, but yeah, I don't know. G4, what a mess, and it'll be a lesson in television history. I do think that people are going to look back on everything that happened with this network, and it'll be a lesson. There are definitely some takeaways, as they say. So for like how to not treat your audience.
It is a prime example of get woke, go broke. It really is. And that happening simultaneously with quite possibly the biggest flop in history,
right?
Which I think we're halfway through. By the time the Rings of Power is over, it will be the biggest flop in history. Whether Amazon wants to admit it, there's going to be a bunch of data out there that will prove it. And wow, who couldn't see that one coming?
Did you see the new numbers on House of the Dragon? The audience is increasing.
29 million average viewers. So it's creeping up to, it's right around where Game of Thrones in its prime was averaging. According to HBO Max, okay, we got to put that caveat in there. But yes, the audience is visibly increasing, and our live stream last Sunday was our live streams the numbers are increasing, which usually doesn't happen. When we review TV weekly, here is the pattern. Everybody tunes into the first episode. You know, that's your biggest number. And then, you know, it tails off a little bit. And then if there's interest in your show, the finale will be big. Like a lot of people will tune into your live stream. A lot of people will tune. It mirrors the ratings of the TV show, the interest, right? Now it's been a while. It's been a minute since I've reviewed something weekly. I mean, I did it on Nerdrotic Live with Picard, and like people tuned in to season 2 just to see like, hey, did they fix this? And they threw a lot of member berries at you, like some ships that actually look like ships in the first episode. And then it just devolved into the worst crap I've ever seen. And then it was just people like, I just want to watch you rip this thing. You know, that's fine. But back in the day when I used to like review like stuff that was interesting, that was the pattern. It would be interested in the beginning, and then would just like bow a little bit, and then go back and go up at the end if it's a good show.
Yeah,
it's a good show. And that, I'm sure that happened with the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian season 1 did that, although like every one of my reviews was, it's okay. It's kind of like a cartoon with people, which I haven't changed my mind on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. House of the Dragon is definitely the best thing I've seen, including Andor, which we'll get.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. But real quick, you saw a movie by I keep on wanting to say Olivia Munn, but it's by Olivia Wilde.
That's true.
Yeah.
I saw Don't Worry, Darling, which is I know more about the controversy of this behind the scenes of this film than I care to admit, because I can't stand, I'm not a gossip person. I don't give a shit about that stuff. But yeah, so I saw the movie. It was at a screening. Like, anybody could buy a ticket to this. I didn't get an advance screening. And it was on Monday. They called it the Don't Worry, Darling IMAX experience, which is a little pretentious, but it sounds a little pretentious to me.
It's apropos. I think it's very, yeah.
But you and I were talking before the stream started. You compared it to, like, is it a Stepford Wives kind of thing? And in a way, sort of, aspects of that. But if you've seen the trailer, it's this idyllic life. Florence Pugh is a housewife, sort of feels like in this sort of timeless, sort of frozen in the, late 50s, 60s era, right? Where everything is perfect. She cleans at home. Husband goes off to work during the day, and she has this like perfect life. But there are, things don't feel quite right to her, right? Things don't feel quite right. All that is in the trailer. Now, if I keep talking about it, I can get to the huge twist, but I don't know if people want to hear what the twist is.
Why don't you put a poll up, X-Ray Girl?
Yeah.
Does anybody give a shit about Don't Worry, Darling and the twist? Olivia Wilde was in House, one of the best TV shows ever. I freaking loved House. Absolutely loved it.
And she was in Tron Legacy.
And she was hot in Tron Legacy. She is dumb as a bag of hammers, that one.
Well, look, I think that she's a very good actress, director. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not.
You can say that, Chris, and I can say dub. But it's nice to see we get varying opinions.
There you go. But I mean, look, it had one of my favorite cinematographers behind the camera made this movie look freaking amazing. Matthew Libatique. He's Matty Libatique. If you know him, just look him up. So the movie looks pretty. But if I tell you what the twist is, it's like, this is the big thing. It's a big twist in the third act that changes everything that you've seen. And it's weird because Chris Pine does play this sort of inspired by Jordan Peterson, or at least Olivia Wilde's interpretation of Jordan Peterson, which is
reading CNN articles about Jordan Peterson.
Exactly.
Not like actually watching any of his videos or the Joe Rogan interviews or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. She's completely off base. So it's sort of like the Hollywood person, what little they read, what they think about something, which involves no research. So I don't know where the poll is flying.
Oh, it is. Please spoil away. 93%.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. So, and just so you know, I saw it with a buddy of mine who leaned over to me after the movie, and it was just like, oh, I think somebody was going through a divorce when this movie was being made, because it is the most anti-male film I may have ever seen. Shockingly anti-male, anti-patriarchy, it's shocking. So the twist is, you find out after Florence Pugh is sort of having this idyllic, perfect life, but sort of seemingly things are not right. She's having visions from her past, whatever. She tries to escape. There's an area that she's never supposed to go to, which is where the men work. It's revealed that everything that she's experiencing is a lie. She is living in a virtual world, and she is forced to be there by her husband, also played by Harry Styles in the real world, who is totally an incel, like in terms of like what you would consider the cliche. He's sitting at a video game. He's playing games all day. He looks they make him look kind of ugly and nerdy as much as you could. I mean, Harry Styles, I think that guy's a moron, but if you've seen interviews with him, he's just a complete himbo. But so you find out all the men have forced their partners to exist in a virtual world that's perfect, where the men are in control. But in the real world, they show Florence Pugh is like, she's a nurse that is sort of overworked, while her husband, played by Harry Styles, is at home basically playing video games all day. And he's got glasses. They made him look really physically unattractive and nerdy and weak-willed, like definitely like a soy boy, right? I mean, not that Harry Styles isn't also that in real life. So it's she has to try to escape this virtual world. And if you get killed in the virtual world, you die in the real world. But it is so, I mean, I saw it like 4:30 in the afternoon at a movie theater, filled 90% had to be like all like teenage girls who screamed. It was really freaking distracting. So distracting. But that's the big twist. I couldn't believe it. Like my jaw dropped. Like, this is the twist, is that she's captive of an incel in a virtual world where it's perfect. It's
is
so cringe.
It's on the nose, and
Yes.
it's more proof that Hollywood hates nerds, always has hated nerds, still hates nerds. And it sounds like there's so much more going on. I mean, yes, it sounds like it's anti-male, anti-patriarchy, but it's also anti like what Hollywood is. And Hollywood knows that like video games are replacing them too. Just as they replaced comic books, that they as a hobby. And yeah, it sounds horrible, so horrible. I just want to see the twist. I don't think I want to see anything up to that.
Well, the stuff that's up to that is actually pretty cool. I'm like, oh, this is a good life, simpler times, right?
It's in Palm Springs. It looks like I've seen the trailer, so it looks like it's all going down in Palm Springs, which is a lovely town, by the way. Love it. Yeah.
But we've seen movies like this before, where it's like, here's the world, and then the world is shattered by some sort of reveal, right? Well, the reveal is she's just experiencing a virtual life that isn't actually her life, and she's been taken captive. Oh God, I walked out of it freaking hating it. And the drag is that someone like Ryan Cannell would get like 10 videos out of this if he would go see the movie. I message him. I'm like, dude, you got to see this film, if only to be able to.
I don't know if he could get through it though, dude. I don't know if he could like sit in a theater and get through it, knowing what I mean. I think he'd probably watch it at home.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean,
he can make 5 videos while he's watching it.
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's going to be another one of those where the critics love it and the audience hates it. I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes is for it right now, but
I think the more interesting story is the gossip around it, and I know I don't care either. Like celebrity gossip is one of the most boring. They all screw each other. They're all on drugs.
Yeah,
and so yeah. Other than pointing out that we need female directors and female spaces from a female perspective. And guess what the female director did? She fucked the actor and cheated on her husband. So she acted just like all the male directors. Good. We're all equal. Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like, okay, so can male directors now just bang their lead actresses? Can we go back to that, please? Yeah. It's just so bizarre. And I keep hearing other things. Like, I guess there's a lot of sex in the movie, which, not a lot of nudity, but there's,
well,
but
why watch it then if we can't
exactly.
Get like, boobs?
But I just wonder how audiences are going to react to it, because it's sort of like, well, this is her take on sort of a sci-fi trope. Like we've seen these types of films before. Like Stepford Wives is like that, among others. You pointed out it had sort of that vibe to it, but man, I just, you know, I just wonder how normal audiences are going to respond.
Hollywood is where trends go to die.
That's true. It's true. It's a miracle. Sometimes I always think like it's like a miracle that like something decent comes out of Hollywood. It's usually,
It really is.
It's hard, man. It's freaking hard.
You know, before I do these live streams, my prep is, well, I'm drinking my coffee or I'm eating my breakfast. I'm like rolling around in my brain, like what we're going to talk about. I like, well, you know, after watching Andor, you know, it's something I've talked about before. When we get into it, it's just like, well, aside from it being boring and on the nose and other stuff, but Disney, it doesn't know how to make TV shows. Even though they own D23 and all this stuff, but they don't know how to make TV shows. They just don't. They don't know how to structure them. They don't know how to pace them. They don't know how to put them out. They got a streaming service, but this is why HBO is kicking everybody's ass right now with House of the Dragon. They put out something good at a decent hour, and they know how to make TV shows. They've been doing it for decades. They did Carnival. They did Rome. They did, you know, the first, I forget the last season, but True Blood, you know, first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. There's a lot of good HBO stuff. A lot of people like The Sopranos. Never saw it. Deadwood, one of the greatest shows ever, if not the greatest show ever. You know, they put out some good stuff in the past. So they have very experienced people. And if you look down the line on the crew of House of the Dragon, all those shows I mentioned have people from them. Like they kept their crew together. They bring them back. There's a cohesion. And that matters. And they decided to focus on storytelling instead of being woke as shit too. Well, so Powdered Toast Man for $10 says, thank you. Hey, Gary, just wanted to say, I like powder on toast when I eat toast, which is not often nowadays. Kind of gave up bread. Hey, Gary, just wanted to say thank you for some awesome recommendations lately. The Orville, there you go. Primal, woo, Primal, and House of the Dragon have all been awesome. Can't wait to watch the last 3 episodes of Primal tonight. Yeah, I got to watch the end too. I heard it's a little heart-wrenching. Little. If you haven't seen, have you seen Primal, Chris?
I have seen clips on YouTube. I have not seen the show, but I know it gets recommended. I am dying to see it, so I will check it out. So
if you see Primal, I'll watch RRR.
Okay. That's what I'll take.
Saturday. I can't do Saturday. Sunday. I'll sit down on Sunday and I'll watch RRR if you watch Primal.
Okay, good. I'd like to see you do a video about RRR because I got in this whole conversation about that movie, the politics in the film to kind of look at. It's like one side of the aisle is going to love the anti-colonizer, story aspects, the sort of backdrop, which is a backdrop to the story. And then another side of the aisle is going to love the fact that the big story thread in the movie is this guy is trying to get guns because if they have guns, they can get the colonizers out. So it's like, it's the most pro 2A movie I think I've ever, I've seen in the last like decade at least. Like it's just very pro, like, look, if we had guns, we wouldn't be in these problems. So there's a whole plot thread of like, I'm trying to get guns.
God is a bullet.
Yeah, exactly. So
Concrete Blonde song. Very good, by the way.
There you go.
Old LA band.
Yeah.
Baron Rogachizna. Rogachizna.
I think it's a chess sound.
Okay, there you go. I'm going to roll with it. Any chance we'll give Edge Runners a chance? Yes, I will, actually. You could use some good, something good for a change. Also, RRR was a great recommendation. There you go. Thank you for the 5 British pounds. I'll check out Edge Runners. It's short. It'll probably be later though. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. I mean, because Rings of Power, House of the Dragon. I gotta mix in a Marvel video because it's been very fantasy heavy on my channel, and I like to mix things up a little bit once in a while. But I think I've prepped everybody for these 2 months. I hope I have. I'm like, these 2 months are gonna be like House of the Dragon. They're gonna be, well, I didn't think House of the Dragon would be that prominent. I thought I'd do a couple like reviews and be out. So I'm a little surprised about that.
Thank God it's good though.
Matthew Hammond 499. Would comics and movies be replaced with video games if they were still good? Are people going to video games because they are taking longer to go woke? Oh, what do you think about that, Chris? I have an answer. But...
I think so. I think video games have been less infused or less infected with the woke mind virus, so to speak. But yeah, comics and movies, and it's not all movies, right? It's like I think there's certain things that have defied going woke. Like a lot of horror that I've seen recently is just zero, like movies like Barbarian or Pearl X, The Black Phone are horror films, some of the best horror films that came out this year. Nothing woke about any of those films. So I think certain genres have defied it. But franchises have been infected with woke, messaging, franchise movies, and the comic stuff. I can't remember the last time I bought a new comic. I buy reprints, or I'll buy I'll buy used comics. But yeah, like comics, just all I see are these, just the worst storylines in modern comics, where I'm like, I just have no interest. I don't want it to ruin characters that I love. I mean, it seems like they're doing that. They're doing a good job of that. I don't know who's buying these comics at all either. So, but yeah, I think video games are taking a longer time.
I think there's a lot of other studios that are not in the States as well. So you have those competing studios like in Asia and Europe, and they're not going woke yet. Hopefully not. So I think that's probably why we don't see it as woke as movies and comics.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Comics has been losing the video games for 2 decades now. It's just been losing. It's a replacement medium. You can actually interact with so you could take your comic book character and now interact with them. I mean, I know some of the superhero games haven't been great, but Batman certainly pulled it off with Arkham. I thought the Spider-Man movie, the Spider-Man 2 game back in the day, fucking love that. I absolutely love that game. And there's a couple of other Spider-Man games like Shadow Dimensions were really cool too. So yeah, I think it's a replacement medium where we have been leading up to. I've done it before. Maybe I'll find it, and we'll go over it in this live stream. Douglas Adams' very last interview, like days before he died, unfortunately on a treadmill from a heart attack. He was 51. It's a tragedy. But somebody was just in a San Francisco theater with a handheld video camera asking him, hey, what do you think the future of entertainment is? And this guy is like one of the most humble prophets of media ever. A lot of the stuff that's in Hitchhiker, he just thought of as an idea for his book that ended up the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was the internet, basically, and it's pretty funny. But he said he basically said the future of entertainment, the future is interactivity. This is a new word that just came up recently from the internet. And this is what entertainment used to be back in the 19th century and early 20th century in theater. You would just go to theaters, you'd go to towns, and you'd interact with your audience. They'd be part of the show. And we got away from that. We got away from that with music, with publishing, with television, and with films. So it's just, we're giving you something, and I like that the artist, unless they're at a concert or say they're not hearing a reaction. That's a 20th century model that's dying. So what video games does is it combines them all. So it's absolutely the future, and that's where the innovation is. That's why it dwarfs Hollywood as far as money is concerned. It just dwarfs it. And Hollywood's contracting right now, and it's contracting in ways. You know this, Chris. Like licensing deals are drying up. Like they made tons of money licensing TV shows and films and characters and books and merchandise. And now that they're putting putting the risk in other people's hands, now they have to produce their own content, come up with their own money, and they have to have them on their own platforms. And they're finding out, it doesn't make as much money as it did when we licensed and had other people do it. So that happened to the music industry. It happened to the publishing industry. It's happening to Hollywood. When they go digital, you contract, you dilute. and it shrinks your industry. And there's no way around it. And then you're fighting piracy too. And just that'll be impossible to fight. Like you'll never defeat piracy unless they shut down the internet. Which it's a little late for that. So now they just use it as a promotional tool, which that's probably the best way to go, Chris. When House of the Dragon is beating the Rings of Power in piracy, they brag about it now, which is funny. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You're on.
When you look at the box office numbers compared to the before times, far fewer people are going to the movies. It's I know they bragged The Woman King outperformed estimates, 19 million at the box office. It was another record terrible weekend at the box office. And I think partially it's two things. One, it's the product that people are putting out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's one. And two, it's the economy. Right? I think they're underestimating, like, first thing people are going to cut entertainment. First thing people are going to cut out of a budget. You're not going to, reduce the amount of groceries that you get. And so Hollywood's got to adjust. Hollywood has to adjust.
2 years ago, when Jar Jar Abrams' bad reboot put out that little communist robot fist putting up with their list of demands while our country was on fucking fire. Yeah. And one of them was enough white comfort from a leisure brand. What did you think about that, Chris?
I thought it was stupid, and I thought it was just, I mean, look, a lot of the things that I was seeing on the television, I was horrified, like a lot of people. Like, I was seeing like, oh, those are stores that I used to go to. Oh, that's the West Side getting pillaged. Oh, that's Melrose Avenue with a car smashed through the window of some store that's being robbed. And now Melrose Avenue just experiences all these like burglaries and robberies like during the day. Is
Golden Apple still there? Yeah. Ryan Leibowitz's Golden Apple. Is it still there? Because I know
I don't know. I know they moved further down.
Meltdown moved, right?
Meltdown shut down.
Yeah, they shut down. That's right.
Shut down. And then Golden Apple moved like further up to maybe the safer part of Melrose Avenue, not in the middle part. But yeah, no, I was horrified when I saw that they did that. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
I saw a news thing where there was a guy selling, it was like nice shoes, and he's like, I gotta have a gun now behind my counter.
Yeah.
And it's like a bougie place. It was like it's not like, like there's places that sell like cameras and radios, like, if you go downtown San Francisco and like, don't try to steal from those guys. They will shoot you.
There are armed guards. There are armed guards in Beverly Hills outside of most of the stores now. Literally, it's sort of quickly devolved into a third world country. I think it's
looking like a downtown place and not like a bougie place. It used to be. It used to be like Melrose was the nice part. Like when we go to Hollywood, even back in the 80s, right? Yeah. Hollywood Boulevard was sketchy at night. Sketchy, but a good sketchy where a little punk rocker can go and get in some fights and meet some girls and get high on drugs. But we'd go to Melrose, the nicer part. Not so much anymore.
Yeah. No, it's really sad. I think that there are reasons for this. I think that what they're trying to do is drive down property value. But I can tell you exactly when they're going to get rid of all the homeless tents.
When they start going in Beverly Hills?
No. I'll tell you precisely. It's when the Olympics come to Los Angeles.
When the
Olympics come to Los Angeles.
Arizona. Watch out.
They're going to be bussing people out of town.
They will.
You're going to see things get cleaned up real quick when the Olympics come to LA.
If Carrie Lake is the governor of Arizona, I wouldn't be surprised if she has buses ready to bring them right back, because that's what San Diego did. San Diego just bussed everybody to Arizona, to Nevada. They flew some people to Hawaii. That's what they did. That was Republican National Convention in the 90s.
Yeah, but
Wow.
they're cleaning up the Coliseum. It's but I think there are reasons for just allowing rampant crime to just exist. And we've got, like, of course, one of those progressive DAs that doesn't punish anyone. You pretty much,
And his recall failed, huh?
the recall failed, but did it fail? Like, I'm thinking, like, I don't know anybody that was in favor of that guy remaining. Or no,
Well, San Francisco got rid of theirs. That's how bad it was.
Well, it
They
was
recalled theirs. San Francisco.
yeah, but like in LA, what it was, they needed a certain number of signatures, and they threw out a ton of them for just technical reasons, which seems kind of suspicious.
I would
to me.
fight that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
It's all on LA. Everybody's like, I don't want to leave. It's great here. I grew up here. I had family here. I don't like the politicians, but we keep voting in the same motherfuckers for 40 years. Like,
yeah,
there's a point where you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go. I love it here too. I grew up there too. I'm a SoCal forever, but no.
Well, thankfully, I'm nestled in the oasis that is Pasadena, which none of the things that are happening in LA are happening here. I mean, it's weird, like we don't have.
We picked the neighborhood we're in because it looks like Pasadena.
Oh, really? Yeah, like
love Pasadena. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very walkable city. Yeah. It's like, I know when I go to a restaurant, I know the owner. It's just like, it's cool. It has a small town, like Midwest vibe, which is like where I grew up.
Yeah, it's got Maple Street, freaking, and it looks like Maple Street.
Yeah,
and like Burbank it's not so bad either. I like Burbank.
No,
when I was living there. It's pretty cool.
It's yeah, I mean it's okay, but like, yeah, they don't tolerate that stuff. Like the cops in Burbank will just they'll just shut shit down.
And then you get like, I lived on near Ventura for a little while. I don't want to bore people with that, but I saw Henry Caviezel, the guy who played Jesus.
Yeah.
At a Subway. I was standing behind Jesus at a Subway. I was like, hey, what's up, Jesus? Want to get the sandwich for me? I was a little no, I didn't. I don't hit people up for money. Matthew Hammond, a thank you for the $4.99. But it's Jim Caviezel. Did I say? Jim right, Caviezel. Some Caviezel. Yeah, I was standing behind him at fucking Subway then. I was like, whoa, you really do see stars just walking around. Jesus Gore. That's right. Jesus. Mel Gibson. If I saw Mel Gibson, I would have fanboyed out. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Rings of Power. There's an article. We're gonna go over the Screen Rants trying to rationalize Galadriel. These are just fun at this point. Like, I will tear their rationalization apart. By the way, I'm working on 2 videos right now. Gonna work my editors hard, but Quarterblack's not here because one of his 18 kids is having a birthday. So happy birthday to one of Quarterblack's 25 children, and he probably is gonna celebrate it by making some more. I don't know. I'm gay for Gibson. That's what the chat says. Gay. So we're gonna talk about that. But let's talk about Andor. Chris, you saw Andor. You kind of liked it. What are your thoughts?
Look, this is the thing. Let me qualify my statement now, because I feel like every time I try to have a conversation about something, there's nuance in a lot of the things that I say. So there something can exist between this is a masterpiece and this is a piece of shit. Okay, and a lot of stuff is somewhere in the middle. So the thing about Andor is I like the look of it. I think it's the best looking Star Wars that Disney may have ever done. And Mr. H was pointing out on a live stream, Midnight's Edge earlier, was talking about that it's because they shot it in England and had an English crew, and they're just better at that stuff. I mean, every detail down to the sets, I love it. Like, why didn't the sequel trilogy look as good as this? Okay, so I love the look. I love the fact that there aren't member berries and Easter eggs, or what I would call giving everyone a fan job, which is like that fan service BS. I like
hold on. Doctor Who was shot by a British crew and it sucked. So like,
okay.
hold the phone on that. Like, hey, I love the UK, but come on.
All right. So put that aside. It still looks good, right? The crafts people that were hired, like, oh, this is a kind of part of the Star Wars universe we haven't yet seen. It's blue collar workers, right? And then it's like mid-level Imperial, spies and intrigue and espionage, almost like an Office type of situation. But they're all mid-level with not a lot of power, right? So I like this aspect. I like the world building for this world. The episodes are weird, and I do like the fact that there's no member berries, Easter eggs, none of that stuff. I mean, unless there's stuff that I miss. I like the fact that the droid isn't even cute. The droid is just practical, like like an appliance. It's useful, but it's not meant to be cute or make cute noises or sound like a baby, which is, I guess, what R2-D2 originally was based on. Like, just it's the kind of sounds that a baby would make, where you know what a baby is feeling. That was the sort of how they designed R2-D2. But there's nothing cute about it. It feels more adult. I think that the fact that it's slow moving. I mean, Rings of Power is slow moving, and I don't care. I can't tell you how many episodes of Rings of Power I started to watch and fell asleep. And in this, it's moving slow, but I feel like it's leading to something. I do think that like they gotta pick up the pace. They gotta pick up the pace in a lot of stuff. But I at least like, and I think I've learned my lesson not to judge a whole. And you pointed this out, Gary. Like, how can you review a whole show based on the first 3 or 4 episodes? You can't do that. And I don't think it's fair. So I'm interested in watching more episodes of Andor. I think it's off to a good start, not a great start, a good start. It's certainly first of all, I think Kenobi is the worst thing that has ever been done by Lucasfilm when it comes to and that was the one I was most looking forward to because
since The Last Jedi.
Exactly. It's the worst thing. So I'm interested. I just think it's too little too late. I think normies are going to hate it. Grace Randolph hates it because there's no, there's none of that fan service. She's a normie. And so I think it's going to be a failure. And in the end, I think it will fail. And you were talking about something earlier. I really think is just Disney can't make TV shows. They don't know how to make TV shows. They don't know how to make television. They just don't. Like in HBO, they've got experience. And also here's Disney. They don't pay enough to hire the best people. They just don't.
No,
I feel like part of it is they get a lot of people that this might be their, they're working themselves up the ladder. They've never been on a writing staff. I would say that it smacks of a lot of this stuff smacks of inexperience, and they don't have the budget to pay enough. Now it's Tony Gilroy and the team, the producers are the team behind the Bourne movies. So it has that feel, right? The Bourne movies are slow burns until there's action, right? But I like where this is going. I think it's interesting when you get to the 4th episode. I don't know. Do they show any of Coruscant in this? They do show some Coruscant, right? In the first 3 episodes, did you notice? It has like a 1930s Germany feel. There's a vehicle that Mon Mothma pulls up in the show, and it's like, oh, that has sort of a vibe of pre-Nazi.
I didn't see Mon Mothma.
Yeah, she's
in 2
episodes.
So I only saw 3 episodes, and I didn't see Mon Mothma.
But
I saw what's his name? Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? From Thor, his dad,
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Come in and meet and Juan Solo, Andor.
Yeah.
There's an action scene. But please finish.
No, but it's just for me, it's like I'm interested in seeing what's happening. Whereas Kenobi, it was torturous and frustrating to watch that show. It was all the best parts of the prequels were just kind of ruined by that series. They ruined the character of Kenobi. The thing was for kids. There were things that were laughable, like Obi-Wan Kenobi hiding Leia under a trench coat. I'm dying to see that cosplay. Please, somebody do that cosplay at a convention. But Kenobi was just like, the thing that I had hoped, like, oh,
I
maybe-
might. We just get my wife to hide under a coat.
Yeah,
and make it more ridiculous.
yeah, just that was comical, like out of a bad Little Rascals episode. Although the Little Rascals is actually pretty good, but no, I'm interested and curious to see where it goes, and I want to see more. But I pretty much blackpilled on Star Wars. I don't really care anymore, and we're not going to see any Star Wars movies. Those have all been canceled. And they still have yet to kind of get the TV shows right. I feel like they're still figuring it out. But you're right, Disney. I mean, you said it earlier. Disney doesn't know how to make TV shows. And this, what's weird. Can you imagine watching those 3 episodes, like not watching them back to back? There had to be some contractual or legal reason that they needed to be separate episodes. Maybe a budget reason or a legal reason. Like
the end of that first one was what?
Yeah, it just ends. There's no. It's sort of like
there's no like progression or anything. I
mean, all the House of the Dragon episodes, they have like, I mean, they leave you wanting more. Not all questions are answered, but each episode has a story that concludes a main story, and then there's the overarching, things, the threads that are running for the whole season. But you don't get like Andor just sort of stops. Like, what? That's an episode. There's definitely what they should have done is the first episode is 90 minutes because it does kind of tell one story and then it pivots in.
They should have just made it like, why even put breaks in it at that point?
That was stupid. That was so dumb. Like, it's just another reason like they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
You know?
Okay.
So your thoughts?
Boring as fuck. I mean, just unbelievably boring. Now, I will preface, I have a bias. It's not even a bias. I don't care. I am out on Star Wars. There is no way they could, unless they can reincarnate Gary Kurtz and bring George Lucas back and resurrect Carrie Fisher at a younger age and do all that. Like that, it's not happening. I don't care if they erase fucking Disney. I've seen it. You can't erase it from my memory. It's dead. It's fucking dead to me. I don't care. I don't want to buy anything. I don't care about this fucking world. Bores the shit out of me. And this was boring. Look pretty. Like production wise, this is probably the best thing they've done since Rogue One. I mean, there's like the Disney trilogy was shit. There was like some ships look good. Like I'm not going to say it like all like look like crap, but it was like, like little M&Ms in a poop. That's what I would describe it as. I don't care about Andor. This is a prequel to a prequel. A fucking prequel to a prequel that leads to a failed babysitter, a twice failed babysitter babysitting a quitter. That's what Star Wars has become to me. So I don't care. I'm not invested in any of these characters. It's mystery box bullshit. It looks, and I think the immigration allegory is on the fucking nose to the point where I think they're borderline being kind of racist with, all the brown people that live in like thatched huts in their tribe. Why couldn't they be in advanced society? Is there any reason they couldn't have been like living in harmony with nature, advanced society? Why did it have to be a tribe living in a jungle in teepees? Really? Fucking really? That's where you went to get the immigrant experience? Why would people immigrate to the empire? China doesn't have an immigration problem. Okay, like we do. All right. So you're mixing up your allegories and your metaphors. And then it's describing somebody in a Star Wars show as a brown person, basically twice.
Yeah.
Twice in a place filled with aliens. And then why weren't you the language they were speaking? They weren't translating it. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They didn't translate the language, the Canary language they were speaking. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Because you're just going blah 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 blah. That's all you're doing. Like we're supposed to figure it out. And the flashbacks, I don't give a fuck. So just to let you guys know, the 3 episodes leads to Andor taking off with a mentor. Basically getting snatched by one of them, and then first it's a girl boss mentor, and then it's a male. and I guess she whisks him away from the tribe, who was picking through a crash ship. What were the bodies?
Well, it looked like the thing that I saw was the minefield. They sort of like mined that whole area, which kind of tells are they talking about how like we mine lithium, for batteries?
Yeah, that's exactly what they were saying. And why would they mine lithium the exact same way we do?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they show these minefields. It's like, oh, there's sort of an environmental message in there. It reminded me
sorry, but it's on a streaming service that requires a phone that makes you mine for lithium, you fucking idiots.
But it's like that aspect, like, oh, I totally like that stood out to me. Reminded me of, do you remember the movie? No one will remember this movie, Solo. At the end, that sort of last part of Solo. Solo's god awful, by the way.
It's so bad.
I mean, what's so funny is you forget when you talk about like worst Star Wars, no one ever brings it up because they don't even remember it. That movie kind of came and went. And as if Jeremy were here, he'd say Solo lost money.
Hashtag Solo lost money, which it did.
Geeks and Gamers, shout out to Jeremy. But it reminded me of that last, and everything on that was so on the nose. This is less on the nose, so it didn't annoy me as much. But like the whole thing of like the fuel in the Star Wars universe, like what was that? They never how do we have to explain everything? Can't the technology just magically work? And who gives a shit? Like, the last part of Solo was terrible.
Star Trek's kind of better. I still watch old Star Trek. Like I love maybe someday I'll watch the original trilogy again. But honestly, the last time I tried, I was halfway through Empire and I saw Han Solo. And I just thought of John Travolta's son fucking stabbing him through the stomach stupidly. It's not his real son. It just reminds me of John Travolta for some reason. What's going on around here, Dad?
But that's the thing is like, so, okay, they rescue Han out of carbonite from Jabba the Hutt. And can you imagine sitting there and think, oh, you mean they made a sequel to this movie? What happens next? I would not put a child through that. Episode 7. Everyone points out Last Jedi. They hate that. Like I fucking hated Force Awakens. The way they killed Han. It's like I hated that. It's such disrespect to that character. Like it was awful. And it's not even a good death scene. You can have death scenes in movies that matter, but oh god.
Spoiler for my next video. Scotty Mendelson from Forbes called Spider-Man No Way Home the Force Awakens of Spider-Man movies.
What is that? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Scott.
Oh, I found something.
Oh no.
It was like, I can't even say because I don't want anybody else to find it.
Oh, good.
But I found something. I'm like, nobody's talking. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna that's what my next video is on. It's just we'll leave it there. I end up talking too much, but I want to surprise you guys.
I can't wait. I watch all your videos.
But he called Spider-Man No Way Home the Force Awakens of Spider-Man films.
Maybe he means from a financial standpoint. I don't know what the context is, but
that's not the context. Oh, it was insulting. It was supposed to be insulting. Which is funny because he likes The Force Awakens, but then that's the whole point of this is you hear people defending. Remember all those people like defending Last Jedi like they're defending their mom, like you you insulted their mom, and now everybody, like so many of them are like, well, I know it's divisive and it wasn't that good, and there was a lot of things that like, oh, then the truth finally comes out like 5 years later. It's like, remember when that dude was calling me racist? Like, John La Rocha, the outlaw, yesterday, making a fool out of himself, getting ratioed by Steph, my nerdy home. That's my girl, little gooder. But he was out there trying to like just gaslight everybody, and he did by saying we don't want a bunch of white men reviewing Andor because there's we need like Latinos or someone with immigration experience. And I'm like, oh, well, let's get the all ice Andor review. That's what I was thinking, because that's immigration experience technically. But that's what he was saying on Twitter. Yeah, it was a bizarre tweet. It was a really fucking bizarre tweet to get attention because apparently shilling on your own ain't easy. So there you go. That's Chris is not associated with my statements. I don't know if you know the man or whatever. But like when you go out there and then he's all the racists in my replies, go fuck yourself, dude. You're the problem. You the problem. And that's why nobody's watching your fucking channel. So once you look in the mirror and realize that you're the fucking problem, then it will be solved. Just so you know, Rocha outlaw.
By the way, I do know Scotty Mendelson. He used to write for Film Threat years ago, and I see him every once in a while at the AMC Burbank 16. I brought up, I'm like, hey Scott, do you know that like a lot of people online like hate your takes? I don't care. Whatever. Like he's so like in his own world. He's completely unaware that he's, you know, that his takes are not well liked.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely watching our videos.
Is he?
For sure.
He tells me he's not.
He used the title. I mean, he damn near uses the title of one of my last Marvel videos.
Really?
My last two have been basically Marvel is doomed and Marvel is dying. So like, and it is. It absolutely is.
I would agree with that.
It is fucking dying. I mean, it is in entropy. So is Star Wars. So I think Star Wars is past dying now. Like when I mean dying, you bought your intellectual property for billions of dollars, Disney, to make films to make billions of dollars so they can in turn make toys to make even more billions of dollars in T-shirts and underwear, because that's where the real money is. The real money is in the merchandising. And that's fading. That's fading largely. There's a lot of reasons, but you built your entire foundation of sand on your woke content, which destroys everything from the beginning. It's like a cancer. But there's also other factors, like kids don't buy toys anymore. They're not really into action figures and stuff. And yeah, it's plus it's gotten old. It's just gotten, like, you bought Star Wars 10 years ago. You haven't done much with it. To be quite honest, you haven't done much with it. I can maybe count on one hand, maybe two average things. And that's what Andor is. Andor is meh. Now, there's two, like, there is heavy political messaging in this. It's heavy, but there's like competent actors performing well. Like, this isn't like cheesy acting. The dialogue isn't like god awful like it is in The Rings of Power, or it has been in Obi-Wan or Boba Fett, or even in Mandalorian, folks. Sorry. Like, there's competent dialogue, competent production, competent acting. But that's it. It is basic. And like, maybe this is what they need to do to turn things around in 20 years for it to be the franchise that they wanted it to be. What they did was they rushed into things. They didn't plan. They trusted the wrong people. They went all in. They made a bunch of money at first, but you killed it. And fans, like, we want this shit to go forever. Now, nothing does, but Star Wars and Marvel should be doing just fine right now. They should be, because we've seen Spider-Man is not an anomaly. It shows that there's still a desire to see this stuff. It was good enough. It was still a desire to see this stuff, but that desire is waning fast. And people can compare domestic totals of Doctor Strange and Thor. But what Ryan pointed out very correctly in his videos is the amount of people going to movies. Don't look at the box office totals. Look at tickets sold. They're down 30%. Pretty much across the board, except for Maverick and Spider-Man. But the movies are in a bad shape, and production stopping didn't help either. But it's turning out, Chris, like, revving everything up wasn't quite as easy as Hollywood maybe thought it was. And still dealing with COVID restrictions?
In Los Angeles for certain events, yeah. Like, I don't care. I never wear a mask. I
meant for shooting.
But I see, like, for shooting, yeah, I still think they're doing that stuff. It's so dumb. They have like this. Well, where the talent is, they don't have to wear masks. but they call them zones. It's really oppressive. And to me, it's just a grift from the medical industry.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a continuing grift, like, selling testing kits, selling this. It's like, I happen to talk to a guy who, I don't even know if we should be talking about this stuff. Gary, you tell me. But I talked to a guy who retired from the medical industry. He says, look, this is just,
we can it's okay to talk about now.
Yeah, it's just a variant of the Spanish flu. It's, it's a cold.
It's a variant of H1N. It's a variant of the Chinese flu that came in from the 1960s that shows up every decade, pretty much. If you go through Wikipedia, that's how I found out. I went on Wikipedia, which is not a reliable source. I'm not saying that. And I looked up COVID, and then it was damn near 10 years ago. We had it was either H1N1 or bird flu. That's the one I got, by the way, bad, went to hospital, IVs, all kinds of shit. Then 10 years before, there was another one. Almost exactly 10 years before, there was another one. The difference with this one, though, is manufactured. But sorry, little manufactured, little manufactured. So yeah, and it ruined everybody's lives. Basically, killed some people. And now we're picking up pieces.
Businesses and just I don't know. I'm sort of sickened by the whole thing, but I'm fortunate to work at home. I haven't been as affected.
Yeah.
But I'll go to events and they say masks required. I wear a certain kind of mask that
I know you do.
Breathe a little easier, but it's what really is sort of sad is looking out my door on my street and seeing, and it's always young people. I would say younger than 25, wearing masks outdoors, or I still see people wearing masks every time I go to the movies at the AMC Burbank 16. There's always people in masks, and I don't understand. I don't get it. It's like a weird, it's like a weird mind virus. It's like
you see it here. A little bit. You see it more.
Oh, really?
And dude, you can tell how people vote. If you are one of those people who are legitimately this endangers my life, you are accepted from this statement I am about to make.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel for you. Wear your mask. By the way, wear your mask. I don't care. Wear it all. Once this started, I think we all said to ourselves, "Oh, we're going to be like China now. There's going to be people walking. It's going to be fashion." And it is in Japan and China and Asian countries, they wear masks all the fucking time. So that's the way our society is going to be. But you can absolutely tell here in Texas who votes what by what mask they wear. Okay. By the fact that they wear a mask, because in Texas, there's 2 or 3 people in the used bookstore, usually the people running it, wearing the masks, and everybody else has not got their masks on. It's we know what's up. So, yeah. Don't worry, my sheriff made a fucking god dang fool out of himself. Jeremy made a video on it. I'm in Bexar County. So
was that the sheriff going after DeSantis?
Yeah. In his jurisdiction where 50 immigrants died in a fucking truck. They were left behind. Yeah, but that's what he's worried about right now. So yeah, I didn't know who the guy was. Now I know who not to vote for. now I know who to vote against. So that guy. So speaking of immigration, let's talk about Andor some more. Aside from the super on the nose stuff. So what it does is it flashes back to his youth. So you're seeing the guy who dies at the end of Rogue One. We're seeing his origin. I mean, at the end of Rogue One, I wasn't I need to know more about Andor. I knew enough. He was a rebel. He rebelled. He was willing to do some dark stuff, kill his own people. And he died at the end, which kind of makes sense for that kind of a character. If you're willing to kill your own people for the cause and you kill yourself for the cause at the end, all right, you're still kind of a dick. But the murders, he commits murders in the early part, and we're supposed to follow around this character like he's sympathetic, and I'm just not feeling sorry for him at all. Dude, I'm just not. Diego Luna's a decent actor. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. But what the actors have been saying on their little tour, I think they're pretty on point. I do. I see. I'm starting to see little cracks, little Disney cracks, and yeah, I think the biggest problem with this is they don't know how to tell a effing story at Disney. It's and I go back to the investor summit in 2020. Remember that, Chris? Bob Chapek.
Oh yeah.
He said something really enlightening. I put this clip in a lot of my videos, and I'm gonna put it in one very soon, where he's all basic. I'm gonna paraphrase what he said. They write by algorithm. I repeat, they create and write by algorithm in tune with the creatives. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they like, okay, we have a 9-episode series. Most people watch the first episode and say, by our data shows they watch the first, the middle, and the final. So we're going to put our best talent on the first, middle, and final. And then we'll pay a little less for the talent in between. Right. We'll have one supervisor, won't call him a showrunner. And then we'll hire less talented writers to come in. I don't know if that's the case with Andor yet, because I've only seen 3 episodes, but it's most definitely the case with every Disney Marvel show and every Disney Star Wars show I've seen. Like Jon Favreau, really kind of took the head on Mandalorian season 1, but then had other people come in. Deborah Chow, people anointed her like the messiah of directors, and that turned out not to be the case. Because television and film are completely different. Kevin Feige, the genius of fucking Hollywood right now, can't make a TV show to save his fucking life. I think it's about time somebody said that. Like, he cannot make a TV show. The one TV show that Marvel did well, he had nothing to do with, Daredevil. And they're going to screw him up tomorrow. I'm so mad about that, dude. So mad about that. So I think Andor will probably be a competent show that I will have no interest in whatsoever. I don't think I'm not gonna. I don't see this thing getting better. I'll let my friends cover it, and they can check back in. Unless I doubt the audience is like, yeah, rest in peace, Daredevil, for sure. I doubt any of you are clamoring for Andor reviews from me. Okay.
You're a little busy too.
Yeah.
God, I'm just loving all your Rings of Power coverage, and just
Thanks, buddy.
Like it's dude,
you're busy too.
Yeah, but I talk about, movies that nobody goes to see, like Don't Worry, Darling, and a lot
That's
of
good.
movies.
Oh, I know.
I think I'm the only person. I've seen a ton of videos about, The Woman King, but I think I'm the only one who actually saw it. Which I that thing's been a whole controversial. All the controversy surrounding it is kind of fun. I think that Boycott Woman King actually helped it when that trended on social media. But
I think it did too.
I think
that's why it's like, do we want to help? Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah,
I mean, because quite honestly, I usually don't. Okay, my opinion on most of this stuff is we don't help. We don't fucking help at all. And movement marketing and fan baiting. I think it's helping a film is an absolutely flawed argument. You don't want your intellectual property having half your store, your hot dog stand. Do you want half of your hot dog customers pissed because your hot dogs fucking suck? No, you don't. You want as many people as possible happy with your hot dogs. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
But no, they Hollywood now thinks they are so much better than conservatives or people or just anybody who doesn't think like them. It's time for Hollywood to end. I think it's it's fracturing off. You mentioned there's like studios in Atlanta now, and
yeah.
Or what somebody mentioned. Yeah,
Tyler Perry has his own. He doesn't care about Hollywood.
Yeah,
he makes an audience. He makes movies for a certain audience. I am not that audience. I don't think you're that audience, but his movies like make money. And he even made a point. God, there was an article where he's just like, you've got to you can't be hiring people who they need experience. He's basically hiring inexperienced people doesn't do anyone any favors. You're not helping them. You
No.
know, and he built his studio in Atlanta specifically to make certain types of films and build a film community there. But also, if you look at the box office, like just look at movies coming to the theaters, it's kind of surprising to see there's an anime movie every week that opens, whether it gets a big release or not. There are Indian and Spanish language films that are getting wider releases, and there are fewer and fewer Hollywood tentpole movies, right? I mean, part of the reason that DC moved their schedule around, part of the reason for that is one, you know, obviously to retool what the vision is for DC as a brand in the future. But secondly, they don't have the money to release the films. They literally don't have, it's expensive. It costs as much as the movie to release a movie when it comes to the tentpole films, right?
Yep.
Like $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes marketing campaigns. It's kind of insane.
It's absolutely insane. And it's unsustainable. That like, it's like when you're watching Netflix, and you know, we were in a great economy 3 years ago where it was sustainable. But even then I was like, man, the Netflix model, if things go south, you can't do that. For one, Netflix just started getting into the black. Remember, it was in the red forever. I had a good friend who worked there for a long time. And ended up working on the Disney Plus streaming service, right? So, or building it, because they've been building it for years. By the way, they were building it way back in 2014. They were getting ready for it. All right, so like it's not like they just whooped it up. They've been trying for a long time to get that thing going. And it is. I mean, is it weird that it premiered during a global pandemic? I think that's awfully coincidental. I do. And I don't believe in those things, but that's for another day. But when it comes to sustainability, it was like, okay, we got this big pot of money, so it doesn't matter. Like, you know, individual shows and individual views don't matter as much as they would for broadcast TV. Well, they're finding out that that's not really the case. Like, you need people watching your show. And now, because you can't license them and, you know, the DVD sales aren't going to come, you know, all your money is going to come from that streaming service. That's it. Oh, that's not as great as we thought. And now we need to start thinking about like not dropping our shows all at once. I know that might piss off some people. And like, there's stuff I prefer to binge to, absolutely, but you can always binge later. But if you want to keep getting good entertainment, which we haven't lately, to be honest with you, yeah, like you got to have it come out weekly. You can't break that model. You just can't. Or your shit will be forgotten about, and it'll turn into fucking TikTok. You know, TikTok's just this thing that people consume. You know, maybe they're spending too much time on it, but eventually, you know, because there isn't any long form stuff on it, the burnout factor will be very high on that. Very, very high. So it's I don't know how Hollywood competes with that. Like, scripted entertainment is expensive, and it has to be really good, and it's so watered down and shit right now. People are going to other things. And now we have this like just a break in movies again. Like, you think Hollywood, by the way, Hollywood was working. They were Gavin Newsom, while my wife could not go to work and do hair as a licensed hair tech. By the way, licensed and safety and all that stuff. She was not allowed to go to work. Our gyms were closed. I was working out under a fucking tent outside in a parking lot when it was pouring rain, but Hollywood was allowed to work during the pandemic. How come everything is fucking behind? What's the excuse? Yeah. Where'd the money go?
It was an essential business, Gary. Hollywood.
I went to Waco to watch the Rings of Power dog shit, and it was a brand new theater. Fucking nice. Our money bought that. Our tax money bought that. That was part of the fucking bailout, the huge bailout for theaters. By the way, how'd that bailout work out? Broadway's dying.
Yeah.
And those big, beautiful, expensive theaters are going to be fucking shut down in 3 years.
And what's weird is they're still doing the masking rules at Broadway. Like, who would want to, first of all, who would want to go to New York now with crime on the rise? I mean, you're pretty much getting videos daily of batshit crazy crime in New York City. So who would want to go there? And secondly, they're still making people wear masks. it's just annoying. That's why I think that Martha's Vineyard thing is so brilliant. Probably the greatest troll of all time, because it just exposes that the elites that are making the rules and the laws are free to make them because it doesn't affect them. And the fact that they were turned away within 50, people, they couldn't take care of 50 people. And then, they bring in the military to get rid of them. It's just, it's disgusting.
Fucking military. It was a genius play that you just can't fight. You just can't fight. And listen, it sucks people lost their jobs from movie theaters. I'm not happy about that, but shit has to fail. Like, if I wasn't failing at my business, I wouldn't have sold it. I wouldn't have fucking, turned my life around and got here. Like, good can come from bad. We need to experience failures. I really wished a lot of the banks would have experienced a lot of fucking failure 10 years ago. But like, we just kicked the can down the road, and we're going to be paying for it for a long time. And a lot of people just don't care. It's like, it's not my money. I'm not paying that much taxes. It will. When your bread costs like $20, you'll care. Bashy Washy gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships for $50. Thank you. Woo. Anakmaman for $20 says, my birthday is on September 23rd. Happy early birthday, buddy. That's the same day that Don't Worry, Darling comes out. It's clear Hollywood hates me and wants me to suffer. They do. So you should go see it. You should go see it, Anakmaman, with all the Harry Styles fangirls.
Oh my God. It was kind of torture to see it with that audience.
Yeah. When I went to see Danny Elfman it was the last concert I saw in California. Danny Elfman did a Nightmare Before Christmas show.
Oh,
it was fucking awesome, dude. It was awesome. But Billie Eilish came out and sang Sally's song. She did a good job, but like, there was just a bunch of girls there to see Billie Eilish. Is that how you say English Eilish, whatever fucking name is? And they were like screaming like it was a Beatles concert. And then when she was done, they left. I'm like, what the hell? This is Danny Elfman. This is Nightmare Before Christmas. It was cool. And then he played an Oingo Boingo song with Steve Bartek at the end. They played Dead Man's Party. So as a big Oingo Boingo fan, I was very happy. But yeah, we had to like wear masks at that one too, and I just took it off as soon as I got in.
Was that the Hollywood Bowl?
No, it was the like some bank center where that was like a soccer stadium in Anaheim.
Okay.
It's like a little soccer stadium.
Right.
It was weird.
Okay.
It was nice. It was really nice. It was like it's named after a bank. Very nice place though. The Grizzly for $20. Hollywood's not just getting replaced by video games. I've noticed board games like Dungeons and Dragons have made a significant boost in popularity, but I think it's Hollywood killing itself with leftism isn't helping. I think the boost in board games actually is from a Hollywood thing. Grizzly, I think Stranger Things really boosted D&D. But that's not bad because like it wasn't it's been going on for years now, so it boosted it in a very good way. I mean, there's a bunch of douchey Hollywood channels like Twitch channels doing it. It's like go to what's Geeks and Gamers or tabletop. That's the one. Like they're the one taking that like the normal approach to it. And it's fun and that's good. Yeah, and I think more people are getting into board games. I'm going to be diving into my Solomon Kane one. That was just a Kickstarter that Razor Fist did a video on. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. So I'm going to try that. Well, I think that's good. There's nothing wrong. That's actual interaction with your family and your friends. And you can do it, via live stream. So like we're entertaining each other basically. We don't need you. Like that's why my last Rings of Power, we're gonna have the Access Media going, they took our gerbs. Good. Good. Bradley Burnett has gifted 5 Nerdrotic subs, that or Nerdrotic memberships for $25. I keep saying subs. Thank you, Bradley Burnett. You're awesome. Stuff Hobbs for $20. Hey, all. Thanks for all you do. It's amazing how the Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek. I miss Captain Picard, the real Captain Picard. Well, according to our friend who I love unconditionally, Robert Meyer Burnett, I think he's a sweet guy. He's wrong on a lot of shit, but I'm sure he feels the same way about me. But he says they're really going to try to turn this one around. They're like, this is it. But it might be an Andor situation. I think this, honestly, I think the next season of Picard might be a little more popular than Andor, but because you're bringing back the next generation crew, and that's a big deal to a lot of people. But I think it's going to be the same situation. Apathy.
Right. It's too little too late. Exactly. Like apathy. Yeah. Yeah. It's just too little too late. It's like, okay, if they had kicked off with something like Andor and never even made Rogue One, okay, it's interesting. The seeds of the rebellion. But I just feel like when it comes to Star Wars, like, my God, like Kenobi was to me like the last. I didn't even watch Boba Fett. I checked in on a couple episodes, the ones that the Mandalorian was in.
Yeah, I did too.
But it was laughable. Like the way that Boba Fett escapes from the Sarlacc pit is like, it just felt like, and this is no disrespect, because there are very good fan films out there. It just felt like a fan film. It just felt so like fanfic BS. And just Kenobi was the last straw. Like oh my God, Kenobi was bad.
I think that's a really good assessment. This is why you're the best, Chris. Best. I love Chris.
Hey, Adrian. Love Adrian Curry.
What's up, Adrian? Fuck everything past Rogue One. Adrian, we got to get you on Friday Night Tights when you're ready. No pressure. Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
We're talking.
But if you're ready, just let me or X-Ray Girl know, and we'll make a place for you. You're awesome. Hail Gary, Chris, X-Ray, and chat. Hail chat. I've been re-listening to The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books. Oh, excellent. I have to recommend The Hobbit, the Tolkien edit. You need to put on your peg leg, but it makes those films viewable. 4 hours long, live long and prosper. Do you mean this? I got it.
What is it, Gary?
It is the 4 hour Hobbit Tolkien edit.
So is that a fan edit?
Yeah, somebody sent it to me.
Oh my God. Those are usually really good.
Yep.
Just get rid of the. See, I always thought like there are really great moments in The Hobbit, but it's just, I mean, it didn't need to be 3 movies. Come on. Ridiculous.
No, but I'd still watch the shit out of that over.
Yeah.
Fucking garbage.
Funny is, by comparison, Rings of Power, like, I just don't see how you write the ship unless you do a complete, it's happened before. A quick example, and Gary, I love that I get all your references, you get my references. I love this. Do you remember when Star Trek the Motion Picture came out? Mm-hmm. Okay, and it got a lukewarm reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Lukewarm reaction from critics. Fans were like, it's kind of slow. This doesn't feel like Star Trek. And then they pivoted, brought in Harv Bennett, who was a TV producer, to then do Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, arguably the best of the original series crew, like, movies. I still have an affection for STTMP, but they pivoted. They didn't even acknowledge that Star Trek the Motion Picture happened. They just sort of like, we're just going to redesign the suits, new wardrobe, new everything. Captain Spock, we're just sort of like wiping it away. And they pivoted hard with the second Star Trek film, and people loved it. So I'm asking you, do they pivot hard for season 2? Do they change the writer's room? They sort of look at like what people like about House of the Dragon. Do they bring in more experienced producers? Do they what do they do? And do they do a hard pivot and just say, you know what, you were right. We're now going to make the series, palatable to both Tolkien fans and normies. Cause I think it appeals to neither group at this stage.
You're right. No, this is the worst television disaster of all time. And I'm going to count Game of Thrones season 8 because at least there was 4 good seasons of Game of Thrones. Right. Still a big disaster, but this is bigger. This is like invested money that's just burning up. So I don't know what you do. Like, you would have to fire everybody. You would have to recast Morfydd Clark. She's not good at Glad. She's too short. Okay, sorry, but like that, you saw a picture of her on the boat, right at the end. Like the guys sitting down are almost as tall as she is.
Yeah.
Like Galadriel is supposed to be 6'4". Elendil is supposed to be 7'11". They didn't like Numenorians just look like dudes. Elves just look like dudes and chicks. And there's like they put no effort in that. So they have a chance because they did leave New Zealand and they're building it's like a ridiculous amount of square feet. It's like a stupid amount of square feet. A new studio for it. And they haven't started production. So yeah, but I think they're going to try it with the same cast, and it's not going to work. It's not like you have to recast Morfydd Clark, and I would pivot towards focusing on one of the three stories, and I would say you could lean into Numenor maybe.
Yeah,
but the chances of that are 0.0000001% of happening. Like these are dumb bankers who are just we're gonna go with what got us here. Okay. I don't think it finishes 5 seasons though. I don't.
You don't think that they just pivot hard and go, they have to be learning some lessons from this. I mean, Jeff Bezos has to be embarrassed by the show. I mean, like on social media, I'm talking about just like no one is talking about it other than it's terrible.
Yeah. And people are out. They're out. They're watching people's videos and reviews, but they're not actually watching the show. I did my live stream last week, and I didn't do it like a scientific X-ray poll, but I did yes or no, and it was like the no's were 20-1. I didn't watch the show.
Well, it's funny, Gary, too. I was watching the OneRing.net. They do a live stream on Tuesday nights. And, they've all been very positive. They've been maybe a little too chummy to Amazon, I think, a little too chummy to Amazon to get access and whatnot. But what I was doing was I was just looking at the chat. The chat was on fire. Hated. They like the whole premise of their Tuesday night show. I don't know if the live stream's still up. Was like, so we're halfway through the season. What do you think? The chat was like, it's an F. It's not Tolkien. D-, awful. I can't stand it. So all the chat was just ripping on the show. And they don't get a whole lot of viewers. I mean, not even close to what, Film Threat gets more live stream viewers. I think they had maybe 100 people, maybe 200 people, but it was just like, the chat was just like on fire with I don't think there were any positives at all.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard a few people turning around. Even the Tolkien professor was like, and it's like, yep, racist. You're all racist now. Welcome to the racist bandwagon, everybody.
Yeah,
fuckers. Yeah, maybe some of us have like been to a rodeo or two. That's all I'm saying, and we've seen this shit happen again and again and again. So it's really fucking easy to predict. It's called life experience. Try it. Go outside, touch some grass, or learn something once in a while. When you see Star Wars fail for political reasons, it was a political move to make Luke a cuck. Okay, to make him drink fucking booby milk. You think that was a creative move? No, it was a political one because we need to raise up our powerful female Mary Sue. And we've seen it like 1,000 times now. It is a trope. It is a fucking trope. The girl badass now is a trope. And like, how does that move women forward at all? By making them dudes. Not really sure how that works. Enough women have been pissed off about it. It's funny. Like, I have a minuscule female audience. It's tiny. It's tiny. But it's been boosted up by Lord of the Rings, of all things. Weird. I thought Guy Ladriel was supposed to be fixing Tolkien. No, we're fixing. We're going to get more women to watch Tolkien. We focused on the female Harfoots. They're dirty, look like they smell, and they're a bunch of dicks. They leave their own behind.
Oh my God, Gary, I've seen other YouTubers using the Guy Ladriel. Like I've seen it on thumbnails for channels like, because just things that are recommended to me, not even channels I follow. Guy Ladriel's now become like a thing.
That's beautiful.
I love it. You got to take credit for it. It did come from you, but seeing other people just use it is great.
It's great. It's great. When I see MCU or Guy Ladriel, feelings in hallways.
It's funny. Marvel even used MCU. Remember the promo? They used MCU.
They said must she TV. They came very close.
Right. But that's very close.
Well, they went full MCU by going after like YouTubers in She-Hulk. Like they knew they were going to get shit. And instead of like, I don't know, basing a story off the fucking comic books, they went to YouTube and decided to use some time in their story to go after like car videos. And yeah.
I don't know. I wonder, I have to wonder at some point, all the negative, publicity, is there an upside to it? Because it seems like it happens all the time, like going after fans, for accusing them of being racist, when the same fans are watching other shows that they happen to be enjoying that have diverse casts, as if that's a new thing, a diverse cast. It's a new thing to point it out constantly as some sort of virtue, like this show is better because of it. No, not necessarily. That doesn't make it a diverse show. Doesn't make it a good show.
Is diversity the rings of power's strength?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think so. Eric July made a great video on this a couple years ago, explaining that it's the middle management where the meritocracy is gone, right? So they're hiring their middle management and their PR firms and their PR people and their media managers are being hired the same way their showrunners are and their writers are and their actors are now. So it's all checking boxes. So you're hiring very inexperienced people who probably the only experience they have in the world is fucking social media. So that's why they're basing it on. And it's not real world. There's no real world experience. Remember when people used to do shit? Remember when writers did shit? Remember when they were like war veterans and stuff?
Yeah.
And now they're just like, I was a veteran of the meme wars of 2016 or whatever. It's like, fuck.
That's what you would see. I mean, freaking, Gene Roddenberry had been through so much in his life. I mean, he was an LA cop, right? Like he had experienced life in a lot. I mean, he survived a plane crash. Gene Roddenberry had been through a lot and obviously took those personal experiences and wove them into Star Trek. And you just see hardly the people that they're bringing in have real world experience outside of a fucking screen. You know what I mean? Like that's really kind of sad.
4 walls in their bedroom and a screen,
Yeah.
Life's been too good for them.
It has. And they're ungrateful little shits. They don't even understand how good they've had it. We're one generation. I'm old, so I'm one generation removed from my dad. Grew up without a dad, dirt fucking poor in South Dakota with no heater. It was like coal. That's how he heated his no bedroom house with no dad and a crippled mom and his brother running a fucking farm. That's and now we're like, oh my God, this is so hard. My internet was on for like an hour. Fuck. Alec Baldwin's finger for $20. The woke infection is making its way into video games. That industry is not immune. You are correct. It's just taken longer because it takes longer to make video games. I think like the woke shit comes out 5 years later and it's bad. Yeah. Oh, weren't they talking about doing a Witcher 4? Like another Witcher game, but it's not going to be with Geralt?
I don't know.
It's going to have a female protagonist. I
don't mind options in a video game.
I don't either.
And frankly, when I play video games,
when you see that now,
what's that?
What do you automatically think when you see like, oh, we're gonna have a female lead now?
Yeah.
It used to mean nothing like, oh, we're gonna have a female lead, but now it's like, oh,
Ugh,
Yeah. Now it's kinda like,
groaning.
Yeah. Trying to tell people.
but at least with video games, like, okay, I don't mind options. I can pick like who I want to play through in a video game.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077. I chose a female because I get to, when I would play Street Fighter 2.
Dude, what you do in your time, I do not judge. Okay.
But it's like, but at least I have the option, right? You can
Yes.
sort of choose what you want. Now I just, I've been hearing about stuff leaking in. It just doesn't appeal to me. Yeah. What was that one where Jeremy got in a big fight with a video game company? This was a while ago.
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
They came after him.
Well, because there was a leak.
And Ryan.
And they came after Ryan as Jeremy, just some guy. Who else? There was like 3 other people they came after.
Strikes.
Strikes. Like Ryan had 2. So Ryan was like on the verge of getting nuked because they leaked some images and it looked like the same intersectional shit that it looked like Anita Sarkeesian was offering notes on like a video game. And it was like killing the white male lead with a 5-iron. A muscle bound that they, by the way, the body type was based on a man, a muscle bound woman, lesbian, killing the white male protagonist with a golf club. Really subtle. And it pissed everybody off. Yeah. And the game completely flopped. It flopped. And they're going to make another one. I can't wait for the HBO show. I'm sure that's going to be great.
I'm sure it'll be awful.
Yeah. I liked Walking Dead. What happened with me with the comic happened with me in the TV show. There was a day I was reading The Walking Dead going, this is going fucking nowhere. And I hate these people. I want the zombies to eat them all. And I stopped reading it.
Same thing happened to me. I got and I think I stopped watching Walking Dead, even before Rick was off the show. It's just, it's a thing of you got to have an ending, like Lost would have been a great series if it was 3 seasons.
Yep. And they explained what the island was but they never had an ending. They didn't.
That cop-out ending was lame. That cop-out ending.
It's Mystery Box 101. Lost. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, it's like Alias. Like I liked Alias in the first season and a half. It was fun. It was like, she would find a chip, like a computer chip in Botswana. And then she'd have to go to Costa Rica to get the computer. And then she'd have to go to Alaska to get the computer case. And then she'd have to go to Russia to get the plug. And then she'd plug it all in. And we figure out it's the Rambaldi device. And it's like, it's the Rambaldi device. And it turns out bullshit at the end. Like that's what it was. It just got tired. I don't know if you ever saw the last episode of that. Oh, it's so fucking bad.
Yeah.
I stuck with it the whole way. Man, it just went downhill fast. First season and a half looked like it was kind of fun, but it was just all smoke and mirrors.
I agree. Literally smoke and mirrors.
Yep. You're on Sanborn for $50.
Woo!
Gaming is starting to turn woke. A very sad face. Sorry. Lots of the RPG farming sims this year, Harvestella, Rune Factory, etc., have non-binary chair options. How many non-binary people are there in the world? Really? Seriously. Like, not trenders, real, like, I'm doing this shit for life. Like, I'm not some actress on House of the Dragon and then I'm going to get knocked up and have 3 kids in 5 years. Like a lesbian until graduation. A lug.
Do you think
how many?
The weird thing, and we can have these conversations because we're older gentlemen. We're gentlemen of a certain age. Do you think, because I'll look at photos of myself from the 90s and I'm like, I wore that, or I made choices that were like, that
I
was.
Never think that. I'm just kidding.
But I'm like, I had that haircut. I had long hair once with a ponytail. I had that for a long time, and just I look at how I was at certain stages of life, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed by it. Do you think at some point some of these kids, and I'm saying the under 25 set, they're getting sucked in with the latest trends?
Oh yeah.
Are they gonna 10 years from now look back on themselves and think I was a fucking idiot? Are they gonna do that?
Yeah, I should have never chopped my dick off. Whoa, what was I thinking? Yeah, I think so. I totally think so. Yeah. But at least I was like, woo, that mullet was a bad idea. Or like ponytail. Actually, I have no problem with the mullet I had because it was cool.
Right.
My
You
mullet
can
was,
always go back. Not with
Mine-
that other thing.
mine was a Lost Boys mullet. Okay. So I like the spiky hair when it was all bleached blonde and flowing in the back.
But I mean,
Yeah.
look, we wore weird stuff. We had weird haircuts or just different looks, right? But like, there are things that are permanently damaging a generation of kids, and it's concerning. It's concerning.
It is very concerning how much we have fucked up our kids. Yeah, like I'm super worried. Like I was not in the best of space today because I'm just super worried about my kid right now. He's going back. He's shadowing at school for the first time. It's a private school. Melissa sits down and she goes, 3 years ago, I did not see us living in Texas and me taking my son to a religious school. And I'm like, nope, didn't see that one coming. But that's what happened. Right. So I think he's going to be fine. But of course, I'm like, it's my kid. We're in a death. He missed 3. Like, imagine missing 9th, 10th, and 11th grade.
Yeah.
Missing it. Like, how fucked our generation is. And like, he adapted well because he's a smart kid. He's like, I don't know how that kid came from me and Melissa because he's kind of an angel and we're not. But yeah, I'm still worried, right? Like, he's gonna, like, is he gonna have to repeat a grade? I'd almost like prefer if he did at this point. It's like maybe we can do 11, 12 again instead of just pushing him in the 12. Like, I don't know. I think about all the other parents going through that right now, and then all the like there's different sets of special needs kids, right? There's a spectrum, and if you catch autism, if you catch it early with a speech therapist and a physical therapist, they can do a lot of good, but all that's missed because some pussy ass fucking commie teachers union didn't want to hurt themselves. And then when they came back, they're all wearing giant fake breasts and they're all non-binary. Fuck them. I hate them. Go to private school. Fuck public school. Sorry. But I just unplugged my mic also.
More kids are homeschooling now than like 10,000 kids were homeschooled in the 70s. The number is currently 5 million kids are being homeschooled.
Wow.
Good.
5 million.
Good. And then we can rethink the whole fucking hey, let's great reset their fucking ass. Let's reset everything to our terms. Okay. And that means not relying on that. They made us. It's our fault. We relied on. It's my fault. I'll use my I statements. I relied on the schools to watch over my kids. I didn't pay that much attention to politics because at the time I figured I'm in San Francisco and my vote's not going to count for shit ever anyway. So I'll just kind of like live my life, like I always have, kind of like in the cracks. Nobody notices me. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. Just be a nice person as much as I can. But then it actually started affecting our lives. It shut down our businesses. It ruined our kids' lives. And, my oldest son went to school, was about to get a job. Everything fucking shut down, and it fucked there's just so much. And then I just think of that times a million, and we were lucky because we worked our asses off and we put ourselves in a position that if shit went down, we wouldn't, fall apart, that we'd still be together because we had kids. We had to worry about that stuff. Not everybody was in that position. Not like some people were blindsided by this. And, now we got people pretending it's not fucking happening. And a lot of people are like, whoa, that's why I got so pissed when I saw Hollywood working, right? I saw fucking Hollywood working and half my state not working. We're not going to gyms. I sorry to get in on this one, but we shut down to protect the vulnerable. Okay, fine. We take that vulnerable. So what's the vulnerable? Elderly. All right. We want to take care of our elderly. How well did New York take care of their elderly? How well did California take care of their elderly? Not very fucking well. There was also COVID morbidities, people who were morbidly obese, people who are out of shape. Well, what I did during that time where I could not, if I wanted to get a job, I couldn't have, because my career, all the stuff was shut down. I couldn't, because I worked in the auto industry. So everything was tightened up in that too. My wife was in the service industry, shut down. Luckily, I had YouTube. So I worked out every day to make sure I didn't get sick. I kept myself in shape. That was what I could do to fix society. That's how I make the world a better place, by not being a burden on it as much as I can. But then we shut down for 2 years. Remember, folks, and whatever you did with your life, that's fine. I hope you survived COVID. I'm sorry if you lost anybody. We lost people. I'm sure you lost people.
Yeah.
We've lost people not just to COVID, but hospitals being shut down, and people with heart disease. A lot of them died because they couldn't go in and get their, like if they had stents, like my wife's father, couldn't go in regularly and died on the side of a fucking road in a car. A lot of people died like that. So a lot of that. Yeah. I'm still pissed about this shit, and people are pretending it's not happening and actually considering voting some of these fucks back in office. I see this. How do I feel about Gavin Newsom's presidential bid? Fuck Gavin Newsom, piece of shit. Guy is a piece of shit, and I don't think he'd get voted in. I think people hate him.
I think nationally he would not do well. But in California, I don't understand. I don't understand how he skated through that recall. And also, like,
mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
Mail-in ballots. That's how he skated.
Well, it's funny to see people pissed off that Biden in that 60 Minutes interview basically said COVID is over, because you see like all the big pharma stocks like dropped because of that. People don't want to give up these rules and all these things that they have in place. Like, if you have a job as a COVID compliance officer, which is a real job on a
movie set,
on a movie set, I had to fucking I do this award show once a year, to just bring attention to small indie movies, right? It's called Award This. We put on the show in 2021 at a drive-in, because that was the only way I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not following. I want to go to Orange County where I don't have to follow these rules. But at the last minute, they made us get $2 million of insurance for the event, which was at a freaking drive-in where everybody's in their cars. It was annoying. We had to pay a COVID compliance officer. It was, of course, we didn't make any money. It sucked. But all this stuff is, to me, a grift. Do you remember that place? Do you remember that video that went viral? The woman who was the owner of the Pineapple Hills Saloon, and she did a video where she filmed herself, and she showed, like, here she had built all this outdoor dining, to follow the rules, and they shut her down. And then and then she showed, like, here, just directly across from her was a film set. It was a film set with
catering, where Hollywood people, fucks, we're going to go eat right in front of her closed restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's like rubbing it in our face. I told the story, and it made the news when Nancy Pelosi got caught with not wearing a fucking mask. That was the day my wife was moving the last of her chairs out of her fucking closed salon. I lost my shit. I was so fucking pissed. I haven't been that pissed in a long time. I was so fucking pissed. I was ready to burn shit down.
Well, since
I was ready to burn shit down.
It's so angry, because I actually know personally small business owners in Pasadena, right? One of the owners, like, very vocal, this restaurant, Edwin Mills, like, he just set up outdoor dining and just did it. He just didn't care. Pasadena also has its own, it's kind of separate from LA, which is nice. But the good thing is I found out about Pineapple Hills Saloon, and I have frequented the establishment.
Good.
And
it's still there. That's awesome.
And then the other ones
are good.
They're doing good now. They recovered. They were able to survive. But there was another business that was shut down. It was the only bar restaurant that was open. It was in Burbank, and God, I'm forgetting the name of it. Why am I forgetting the name? But I went there, and they sort of half followed some rules, like they kind of led you in, but they stayed open when they weren't supposed to, and it was great because we'd be waiting in line to get into this bar restaurant. We just get a burger and a beer, right?
Yep.
And people were driving by saying "F you," like giving us the finger just for waiting in line to go to a restaurant, and we were just harassed by drivers on the street. It was just
sheep.
It's just weird. It's weird to see it and all that stuff. Like, you know, that one meme, the meme that got Gina Carano canceled. Like, I feel like that is becoming more and more true every day, unfortunately.
Well, that horrible news from North Dakota. Yep.
Yes.
Going to see a lot more of that.
What's the latest on that?
Riled up.
What's the latest on that? I saw Jack Posobiec was tweeting about
Scum buckets in jail. Hope you fucking get shanked. James B. Clarko for $20. Hail Nerdrotic. In Minecraft, by the way. With Amazon ruining shows, what did y'all think of Carnival Row? It looked interesting, and I thought about giving it a try. It was very modern. I'll just say that. And I don't think it's going to get any more seasons because the actress is going crazy, right? I think she's on, she needs to go to rehab. She needs to go to AA. She needs to get sober. I hope she does. A bunch of people were doing videos of her, and she was, I forgot the actress's name. She was in Valerian. She was in Suicide Squad. She played the Enchantress. What's her name?
I'm waiting for chat.
What's her name? She was
Cara Delevingne.
Yeah, making out with Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. They had some video of her. It looks like she was like smoking like meth or something, because like she had the meth walk going. She did. I don't know. It's not the kind of video I would put up. I don't begrudge anybody else from doing that stuff, but I've seen that walk before. I hope she gets help. Crack is whack. Crack is whack. Hey, let's share this since it's in our title. We gotta do this. Our good old friends at Screen Rant, who just exist to, get us to talk about nobody shares their shit anymore. How come we don't see any movies glorifying my people? Harumph. I'm offended at the social slight, and the only resolution is for reparations for me and the $89 gajillion and an apology from you all, says Random Eskimo for $9.99. I'm sorry for the Klondike bar. What am I supposed to be? I'm just kidding. I love Klondike bars, just so you know, once in a while. Okay. Why Guy Ladriel comes off as an unlikable I can read words hard. Why Guy Ladriel comes off as unlikable in The Rings of Power. Poorly performed, poorly written. That would be my guess. But somehow it's probably going to be our fault. Spoiler, Marvel underperformed, and it's your fault. It's the fans' fault. That's the spoiler for my video. My next video, little teaser. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's not Marvel's fault. Guy Ladriel's personality in The Rings of Power seems arrogant and abrasive. Seems. When compared to the stately grace of Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. Are they going to tell us she's on a character arc? I can't wait. Let's dive into this. This is going to be fun. Guy Ladriel, The Rings of Power, was quite different from her counterpart in Lord of the Rings. You already said that. In the Amazon's long-awaited series, The Rings of Power, that people are already over, Guy Ladriel's character was portrayed as an abrasive and arrogant warrior princess. I would say a see you next Tuesday. That's what, or as the British say, a cunt. The Guy Ladriel of Lord of the Rings was kind, warm, and gentle, with great beauty and charisma. It's difficult to imagine her as a wrathful soldier clad in a suit of armor. Her elegance and stature didn't mesh with the unpleasant she-elf in the Rings of Power. This disparity could be explained by thousands of years that separate young Galadriel from older Galadriel, except coming of age for an elf is between 50 and 100 years. That means adulthood. That means there might be a slight variance in their maturity, but elves don't like mature slowly over 8,000 years. You don't hit puberty at 2,500. In the Rings of Power, the story, I like that people have dropped, even the show media has dropped the Lord of the Rings before this, because it's not. The story follows events that took place in the Second Age of Middle Earth, the War of Wrath. We already know this set. Okay. She tells Gil-galad that evil does not sleep. It waits. I think he would fucking know that. But I'm sure he's like, thanks. Thanks for telling me something I know. In Lord of the Rings, Galadriel was not shown as a warrior, nor was she shown as a warrior in any of the books or described as one. As a matter of fact, very specifically, it was said that she did not take part in any of the wars of the First Age. There's a considerable contention surrounding the idea that she was a warrior with many battles under her belt, while Tolkien made no specific mentions in the Silmarillion or the Unfinished Tales or anything else of Galadriel fighting in battle. Tolkien wrote in the Unfinished Tales, she was proud, strong. Are they really just dredging this up again? She was she was proud, she was strong, she was self-willed. Oh, okay, totally, man. That totally means putting on armor and training Numenorians. Okay. He strongly insinuated that she was a warrior in her youth. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He would have been very specific. She was athletic. She was the baddest ass female of the elves, for sure. But she was a ruler. Royalty, a ruler. Galadriel in the Rings of Power is a depiction, albeit possibly embellished. Is this person 10? I gotta ask that. I hate to do that too. Sarah Richards.
There's literally no barrier to entry for a lot of journalists these days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, there just isn't. I mean,
of a younger fighter fueled by anger.
Do elves get angry easily? I don't know. Is that a thing?
They get angry. Yeah. I mean, they're hot. They're haughty. They're flawed. They're flawed. Yes, they fight. But like, it took thousands of years before not thousands, 1,000. I can't remember the time. It took a long time for an elf to kill an elf. Like a lot longer than like, you know, the sons of what was it? Cain and Abel. I'm not familiar with the Bible. It took a lot longer than it did for man to kill man. We'll just say that.
Do elves have the power to throw larger guards single file into a jail cell, like just randomly?
Not Numenorians, like maybe like regular men. Still like not that kind of power. And even like Numenorians are powerful. They're badass. They are unequaled in war. But no, those were incompetent morons. How bad was that scene, Chris? That scene was so fucking bad.
What was so funny? It's so bad that Matt Walsh even did a video on it. Like, I don't know if you follow Matt Walsh. He did a video.
I know. Yes, I do.
It's so bad I even noticed.
I know. Yeah. I love it when the political pundits jump into our world. It's like, okay. I mean, it's a good take. It's fine. Matt Walsh is very good at what he does. Very, very good at what he does. I think he even did something on The Little Mermaid. That's what it got in a bunch of trouble for, or quote unquote trouble.
Yeah.
Was it him talking about The Little Mermaid? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Daily Wire is leaning more into pop culture commentary.
Well, they should.
So it's not like the kind of depth that, you know, you or I go into, but certainly like they're touching on the big stories. So
I'm glad they're finally noticing. It took a long time for the pundits to notice. But I'm glad they're here. This has been going on for years. And then like we'd sit there and call out the, you know, the intersexual feminism in The Last Jedi, and then like see Ben Shapiro. I'm just using this as example. Can't remember if he liked it or not, but just somebody like him goes, it was good. You know, just like fucking Jesus. The Rings of Power showed Galadriel as a bitter and impatient. She was driven by a desire for revenge. Her father and 3 of her brothers have been killed by Morgoth. Actually, just one of her brothers. That's all they mentioned. And nobody's mentioned her husband yet. Galadriel was very close to her brother Finrod, who we could have seen in the episode of The Rings of Power. That was him. They called him Finrod on the little side thing. And when he was mortally wounded by a wolf of Sauron, Galadriel swore vengeance. She, like her Lord of the Rings parallel, had a deep sense of right and wrong, of light and dark, as shown in The Rings of Power. She traveled to the ends of Middle Earth. So you're just recapping and conflating the lore with the TV show. Where's your point? Where's your explanation? Depending on the calculation, Galadriel is anywhere from 12 to 2,200 years old at the time of The Rings of Power. The Lord of the Rings, she is roughly 7,000 years old. So you're just going to say it's a time difference. Are you really fucking going there with the time difference that makes no difference with elves? Didn't they just show a scene in The Rings of Power where an elf didn't notice 20 years had went by? I think they did. That's indicative of bad reboot disciples. They forget their own fucking canon in their own show. For example, I'm forgetting the captain's name. Did you ever watch Star Trek Discovery, Chris Gore?
Only the first 4 episodes.
Okay. So remember the what is...
And then I pieced out.
I'm forgetting his name. The captain had bright lights bothered him. So he had to put in these little drops. Well, it turns out that was indicative of somebody who's from the mirror universe, right?
Right. So
the mirror universe, you had to wear like either sunglasses or you had to put in these drops because the light affected your eyes different. Except they completely forgot that with another character that like is a main character in the show that was played by Michelle Yeoh, who was from the mirror universe, and they just never used that thing again. It's that kind of shit. If he goes, that's deep lore for my channel. Morfydd Clark, the actor who portrayed Galadriel in The Rings of Power, said of her character, humility is going to be a big part of her character arc. So you're just repeating the Hollywood Reporter article from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. That was like, hey, yeah, she's on a character arc. Like she's a total bitch in season 1, but like things get better in 2 years when season 2 comes out. Was merely a matter of age. Tolkien wrote himself that she changed and grew. Of course. In wisdom. You see, one of the things that elves are much better than the race of men, even Numenorians, is in wisdom. They are they're better. They're better in every way. They're proto-humans. They're basically they're basically angels, types of angels, like a lower form. So they are smarter, they are stronger, they live longer, they're prettier, they're better people. So great point there. I really feel convinced. Jesus. Now this show's it's dead. Chris S for 1999. Hail, thoughts on The Woman King? I enjoyed the culture aspects and some performances. Definitely woke, though. At one point, I was hiding guffaws while someone else in the theater was sobbing. Oh, you're trying not to laugh. I have no thoughts on. They call it alternative history now in the description, Chris.
Is that what they say?
That's what they're calling it. They changed the description to alternative history. It's an alternative history. I think the name The Woman King is stupid.
It's terrible. It has nothing to do with the movie.
They
only tack it on at the very end. I always hate that when they say the name of the movie in a movie. It's kind of laughable, but yeah, it's tacked on in some lame line at the end of the movie. Yeah. I mean, the movie's being way overpraised. I mean, I enjoyed it, but at best, it's like a C+, B- at best. Yeah. So the Rotten Tomatoes is way off. But I enjoyed it. I'm sorry. Sometimes I have different takes on stuff. I was getting roasted in the chat on Tuesday night's main event. And people were bringing that up, and She-Hulk. I think the problem is I'm too optimistic sometimes, like me and Robert Burnett. But yeah, I think this next episode of She-Hulk is going to be that last episode was what is it? It's a Dana Schwartz episode, right?
Yes, it is. They looked at shoes and bought outfits that they didn't put on. It was really, really exciting.
Yeah, and then oh God, I don't want to. I'll get into it on my own live stream. I don't want to derail yours, Gary.
No, it's okay.
I don't want to break the show. I do enough damage already. But yeah, The Woman King. I don't. I'd rather see more of stuff like that than race swaps like The Little Mermaid. Tell more authentic stories.
Yeah, I'm fine with it existing. The name's dumb. Marketing was dumb. Not for me.
The marketing is terrible. The marketing misrepresents the movie. It's awful. So,
Will M for $20. Andor proves that I am way more angry at Disney Star Wars than I am at Game of Thrones. I can't get over Boba, Kenobi, sequel trilogy, etc. to enjoy Andor, even though it's kind of well done. But I like House of the Dragon. Yeah, I agree. There's huge differences culturally between Game of Thrones, obviously, and Disney Star Wars. Game of Thrones did get woke at the end. It did, like intersectional at the end, and it fucked it up. And it was a total disaster, and people were pissed. But I'm way more pissed about George fucking off and not writing the books. The show could be a disaster, but I was like, if we get good books, I'm fine. Totally fine. But it wasn't like we're going to take a cultural icon of decades, two of them, and just straight up murder them for these plastic bullshit characters that people have already forgotten, that will have no lasting imprint on anything ever other than being dog shit. So that's Star Wars meant more to more people. It's the Beatles of fucking pop culture of nerd culture. It's more palatable to the normies than Star Trek or even fantasy is. So yeah, more people are going to watch it. It's going to have more of effect. So it's the big dog. It's always been the big dog, always will be the big dog. And I don't care about it anymore. It's been damaged for me beyond repair. Couldn't give a shit how good anything is. And it's not good. I mean, like, if it was good, I'd tell you it was good. House of the Dragon is 1,000 times better than The Rings of Power. And it's a lot better than Andor. Like a lot better. More happens in the first 15 minutes of the first episode than 3 episodes of Andor. It's really slow.
I can't argue it, Gary. That's absolutely correct.
And everything that House of the Dragon set up, like I know, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he said it was slow, but everything they set up in those first 2 episodes, they pay off immediately. Yeah. So we just had House of the Dragon. We just had 5 episodes. And 2 actresses are leaving, and like people are going to miss them. And you can tell how good the engagement is it's not memes making fun of the writing or the dog shit characters. It's memes of the show. So you're starting to see memes of the show, of the plot points in the show, which is a great sign of engagement. Oh, and the 29 million average viewers probably
That's
doesn't.
not bad.
No.
It's not bad if true.
If true.
But I will say, just anecdotally, like everyone I know is watching it, and also everyone I know is pieced out on Rings of Power. They just don't care. I can't get my girlfriend to watch Rings of Power, only because I wanted to share in my suffering. But yeah, she won't watch it. She's just like, no, I'm good. We watched like 20 minutes of the first episode, and she's like, this is boring. Why do I? It's so weird that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Good Wrench on the Streamlabs side for $20. I agree about the writing by data. I work in IT. I see the same thing as software and games and music and movies. That's right. I'll stop real quick. Yes, I think Disney's modern writing of their television shows is exactly like a Taylor Swift pop song. That's how they approach it. It's got hooks. I'm just using an example because I don't listen to that music, like Katy Perry and like no.
Oh my God, Gary, we don't listen to the same music. I also don't listen to that music.
Yeah.
It's almost like these scripts are like, I hate to say it, they're almost like Mad Libs in a sense.
Yes.
You know?
It's like woke Mad Libs. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody should make woke Mad Libs. That'd be kind of fucking funny. That'd be kind of good. You can only use woke phrases. It's not nouns. You just got to use like intersectional or incel or something like. Yeah, somebody should invent that. Just give me a thanks. I don't need anything. These companies are so concerned, unless it's already been invented, concerned about collecting data, telemetry, and firing QA teams, ignoring customers. All so bosses can jerk off the two charts. And let's look at some shots. Sorry, it's Kyle Dunnigan. Little Kyle Dunnigan there. He does a great Cuomo impression. You're right. I worked in the IT-ish kind of thing with Technicolor. So definitely know what you're talking about. So many fucking meetings. My God. I just stopped going. And you'll be like amazed like how confrontational some people are. Like I'm not going to the fucking meeting. Really? I just stopped. And they give me dirty looks, but they wouldn't even write me up. That was like straight up being insubordinate. I just stopped going to meetings. I'm like, I'm not going. Fuck this. And they just didn't do anything. Big Worm for $20. Gary, you need to look at Tolkien Untangled's channel. He did a what if storyline for Rings of Power before it was released. His storyline sounded amazing. Amazon should just hire him. Honestly, you should bring him on the stream. Live long and prosper. I'll check it out. Vocalize for $50. Thank you very much. Pronounced vocalize. Hey, I got it. Nerdrotic saved my life. Wow. I was in a bad place when I came here in 2020, and Gary let me know I wasn't alone when I couldn't earn money during the coof. Melissa was so kind. Been a fan here ever since. First time super chat. Aw. Thank you. Yeah, Melissa's all right. She all right. Autistic Musings for $10. D&D is infested with woke wizards of the coast, especially the cancer spreads everywhere. You are correct. You are correct. And I'm sorry. Got to start making your own. Some people did. That Solomon Kane tabletop game looks pretty fucking dope. The Grizzly for $10. What are you people more familiar with? What are people more familiar with? Franchise, the Halo franchise, the 20 years of games, or the wonderfully entertaining Cuck Cortana show? The answer is Hollywood's future. Same with the Fallout show. Oh God, you know who's running the Fallout show, Grizzly?
Oh my God. Let's find out.
Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan. Same people behind Westworld. Sorry. If it was just Jonathan Nolan, I'd say okay. Lisa Joy, not so much.
Do you think that pairing has to do with studios love the idea of just hiring, people who could use a leg up, or so they think. But I think that what they're doing is they're just hiring inexperienced people. And I had a case, a friend of mine who's a screenwriter. He and his, I can't say who, but he and his wife are co-screenwriters. They write screenplays together. And recently they were about to sell a script, but they wanted to take his name off the script and say, no, we want to lift up female voices. So they wanted her to get sole screenwriting credit, even though they wrote it together, and he would get a producer credit. And this is how they're sort of threading the needle of look how virtuous we are.
Yeah.
We hired a female screenwriter.
I know they did. Person of Interest was a popular show that people liked.
Mm-hmm.
And then Westworld, one of the best season ones of television I've ever seen. But then Jonathan Nolan's name started disappearing from Westworld.
Yeah.
And Lisa Joy's, his wife, who's pretty good looking, starts writing more, and it gets worse. So like, I'll just let that story tell itself.
Yeah.
I'll just let that story tell itself. I think Jonathan Nolan's a good writer. I think Lisa Joy's a shitty writer. That's it. And she took over Westworld and it sucked. It fucking sucks. I can't believe it's still going. I'm done with Star Wars. This could be the greatest TV series ever made. I don't care. Fuck Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. I'm done. Let Yellow Flash 2 for $10. Hey, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you, Yellow Flash. Check out Flashcast every Saturday. We license out for free. I got news for you from that. That's where I got it from. So Yellow Flash. Good guy. I got news for you, Yellow Flash. You black-pilled on Star Wars just like me. But I got a question for you. Is Kathleen Kennedy still in charge at Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Pretty sure she's still the boss. T-Pack 28 for $10. Adrian Curry has a great cameo in a very underrated horror comedy anthology called Tales of Halloween. I highly recommend it. Oh, I'll check it out.
Sweet.
Tales of Halloween. Awesome. I was just thinking, like, don't you hate it when something hits your brain and then just... Hey, Roland New for $1.99 says, fuck Naughty Dog. Hail Jeremy, Ryan, Az, and you all. Hail all those guys too. Yeah. I mean, like those guys, like we all love a fight. Okay. If a big company comes after us, we're like, oh, sweet Jesus, thank you. We're like, come on, motherfucker. But then when it gets to two strikes territory, you're like, oh shit. You know, poor Ryan's like, I don't know, man. And like, you know, me and Jeremy were like, you should get into YouTube. You know, luckily Ryan had a day job at the time, a good one. But it's still a little freaky. You know, Az didn't. Az was a full-time YouTuber, and you know, he went after him. And they were bullshit too. There are third-party companies misusing the copyright system to silence criticism, and they paid for it ultimately. And they helped all those channels ultimately. So striking those channels did nothing but make them stronger. And they'll never fucking learn. And good. Hail from the past opinion on The Boys. Shadow H for $10. I do not like it. I like the first season. Do not like second, third season.
I was not a fan of the second season. But the third season, I love Homelander. I freaking love Homelander. I'm sorry. I think he's a great character. But yeah, it's first season was the best. And you know, I just want to, they should play out.
Do you know about the big change from the comic they did in the third season?
Is that having to do with Black Noir?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
And it was to make Homelander, I mean, he's bad in the comics already.
Mm-hmm.
But it was to make him even worse in the show, to make him more incel Trump supporter Homelander, which just is so on the nose. I can't fucking take it anymore. It's like, you are really, really like, there is such a demand for anti-racism, like, or not demand, but anti-racism. This anti-racism thing needs demand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got the demand, but they don't have the supply. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
They have the demand, but they don't have the supply. So they go and fake things. And they try to run false narratives. And I'm just fucking sick of it. And it's really leading to a dangerous place in our culture. Been trying to stop this for a long time. I'm trying to call out for a long time. And people just keep on doubling and tripling and quadrupling down to where people are actually believing that there's Nazis around every corner. that I am alt-right and I am a Nazi and I'm some kind of fucking pipeline for this bullshit. And I talk to Steve Bannon every day. And these are the people who make fun of QAnon.
My God. Well, there's that article, the Rewriting Ripley, well-researched article that was effective. that was a fucking hit piece. It was disgusting. The latest one was, I mean, I still think you should go after them and sue them. I think you should sue them. You got to punch a bully in the nose.
If they had anything, we definitely could. I had somebody look at it.
There's a case there. You could sue them and make their lives a living hell. It's not even about winning the case. It's more about having them on guard to like
sending a message.
You're making false accusations about you and Ryan and it just fucking infuriated me when that piece came out.
And it's sponsored by Disney employees.
Yeah.
One of the writers used to work for Lucasfilm. Okay. And they are friends with people from Lucasfilm. They are all following them on Twitter. So this is all supported by Lucasfilm employees.
I don't know. At some point, to get rid of a bully on the playground, you got to punch him in the nose.
Punch him in the fucking nose and break it.
Serious.
Yep.
You got to do it sometimes.
Yep.
So
I think that one comes close, and I'm still maybe, but I think there will be a time where there will be an opportunity where we can strike and then maybe send a message, maybe not. Usually I just, don't care, but, that one got agreed, and it does help other ankle biters, but that's all they are, is fucking ankle biters, man. And, I just put it this way. If in my email, I don't see most of the hate is through Instagram, to be honest with you. My wife sees most of it.
Oh, really?
Poor Mel. But like the other stuff is like, it's 200 to 1. People are just like, keep doing what you're doing. And it's really nice. It's really nice. Very grateful for that. Hail from the past. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Shadow Age, for $50. I appreciate it. And George Orwell, bet you're tired of being right. Alternative history. This is doublespeak for making up your own history and ignoring that you don't like it. Step away from my books. You've learned the wrong lesson. Well done. All right. We're going to have to get oh my goodness. I'll read 3 more. And then we got to get, why is that in red?
That one's the one about the pronouns video.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you pull it up? How long is it?
I have it. It's 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Did you preview it?
Kind of. It's hard to do it. I'll listen to it now. Just
you preview it, and then like if you think it'll work. Sorry, we got to do this with all video. I can't just play video because it's cold. I can't. I'd love to, but I can't. Especially if it's 2 minutes long. Acidia Geo for $10 says, "Hey Gary, can we get a shout out for The Hobbit, first published 85 years ago today? Is it today? Really? Oh my goodness. I thought it was tomorrow. It's today. Let me see. Up and up. But yeah, 85 years ago today. And tomorrow's Hobbit Day. Tomorrow's Hobbit Day. Today is 85 years of The Hobbit. So shout out to The Hobbit. But they wanted to premiere Rings of Power on the anniversary of Tolkien's death. They could have done it today. They could have done it tomorrow. And I do believe Thursday is even mentioned. Specifically, Thursday is mentioned. Thursday, September 22nd. That's awesome. Ask Chris if Clerks 3 addressed the Masters of the Universe drama. Ask Bethany for $3 on the stream.
Clerks 3 doesn't mention any of it. I finally saw Clerks 3, and I actually enjoy. Well, there's a character in it that's freaking annoying. that's annoying. But I feel like it wraps up the Clerks series. It's kind of a love letter to indie film. If you're able to separate yourself from Kevin Smith's public behavior on social media, you could enjoy it. But if you're not, you don't bother. But I actually like the way he wrapped up the characters of Dante and Randall. I mean, I was invested in them. And, you know, if you're a huge Clerks fan, or then you should check it out. Otherwise, don't bother. This character that's in it, some character, like, it's annoying. You'll know exactly when you see it. So a mild recommendation.
I won't be seeing it.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. That's my job, is to see all these indie movies, you know, to see the indie, but he doesn't address it at all. And even like, there was like a post, like he really does. I think that he could easily rehabilitate, you know, his image by just addressing it directly. I mean, the guy was kind of known as sort of, he's one of us. He's a nerd, and he's, you know,
be honest. That just say like, the studio came at me with this. I needed to do the, like, just be honest. Somebody fucking be honest. But that is impossible for Hollywood.
It's just so rare.
I know. They would rather, I mean, like, that's your currency in Hollywood. It's not money.
Yeah.
It's ego. It's still fucking ego. That's why so many people on this woke train just won't get off, even if they're a bunch of fucking phonies. Brightest Day for $2 is, how long until Nerd Cookies reaches 1 million subs? I don't know. A couple of years, maybe. The rate she's going. Took me. I don't make video. Well, she doesn't either. 3 years to get to 3 years, a couple months to get to 500,000.
Wow, that's impressive, Gary.
Thanks, man. I was just looking at, because we're coming up on, we're about a month and a half of the way away from the anniversary of Stan Lee's death, and that was like my first live stream to crack, I think, like 5,000. Like I was normally just getting a few hundred people, which was great. And Stan Lee died, and I just changed the title. I was in the middle of a nooner, and all of a sudden 5,000 people. I'm like, whoa, what? You know, and that was back when I still had a job, and my day job at Tesla, working for Elon. We're going to be roasting you, Chris. Nothing personal, says not applicable for $2.
Who's roasting me?
Probably maybe over Andor. I mean, they've been kind of roasting you for, I mean, just in a very good way, nice way, for She-Hulk. But people
well, that I deserve, but I will like, but the thing is this, every Marvel Disney Plus series, I believe, started out decent and then went down the toilet. And I think that it's I mean, we were talking about it with Alan last week. It's like, oh wow, this is, you can kind of, like, if you're binging something, because I saw the first 4 episodes, it's like there are bad episodes and good episodes, but in general, I'm like, okay, you know, I this is something that I can be, you know, I can enjoy. But I didn't say it was the greatest thing ever. This is why it's like, I feel like my takes are misrepresented, in the sense that, like, to me, something that's fucking great is RRR. That's great. Everybody should see that. And a lot of stuff is in the middle. And then there's some stuff that just god awful pieces of shit, like that recent Pinocchio movie on Disney Plus. That is just, and that's an example of everything wrong with movies. Don't Worry, Darling, also, I think, is just like, what hot garbage. So I like to be there in the middle and qualify my comments. And I feel like there's no nuance, right? Like, it's like a thumbs up, thumbs down. It's like, okay, some stuff is like right there in the middle. Like, so I don't know what to say, and feel free to roast me. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I think, I mean, like, Andor is not the worst thing Disney Star Wars has produced, by, like, not at all. Is it one of the better? I'd say it's just like really super average. Like, and then, well, like, when we get into the on the nose shit, it gets cringe, like fucking cringe. But it's like, you know, Stellan Skarsgård is a good actor. He's a very good actor, and he's in this, and I like him in almost everything, dude. And Diego Luna. Sorry, I just don't think he's a very compelling lead. I just don't. I think he's a good like B, C character. I don't think he can carry a show. I just don't.
No, which is why I'm glad it's more of an ensemble. And is
Yeah.
it just me? Does he seem small?
He's really
Does he seem
tiny.
small?
Like he's
Yeah,
more
he seems
tiny. He's a little guy.
Yeah.
You know what? He looks like a douchey Silver Lake LA guy.
Yeah. And so to be clear, I never said I loved Andor. This is what annoys me is I feel like there's almost like no nuance, right? You can't have like a discussion. And that's what I like to do. I like to have discussions. There's stuff that's working, there's stuff that's not working. Yeah. The stuff that's working
better. Like this could improve. Like I'm not like it but man, it's taken a fucking long time to get there. And if we were going to get signs of like this is going to be a really, like, oh man, twists and turns everywhere. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the twists and turns, and usually those happen early. We can have those happen early. You can have a character die, like Bixby. She should have just died. They should have just had her die instead of her boyfriend. Right. I saw a comment like that guy should have just had dead meat written all over his fucking shirt. Yeah. That guy was so dead. But if they had her die, okay, all right, you're doing something a little different. But no.
But here was my observation about Andor too when I talked about it last week. It doesn't have that feel of Star Wars. I think that's going to turn a lot of people off. But if you just changed the spaceships, the shapes of the spaceships and some of the costumes, could it just be generic sci-fi show?
It could still be boring.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is
I absolutely agree with that.
Would you like it if it wasn't Star Wars? And my answer to that is probably not.
So I would say when he's going to see Bixby, like she's going to be working on a ship or doing something scientific. Yeah. And she was working on a ship.
Right.
It's like it's like when I can predict, like just on a whim, she'll be like pulling off a piece of like I straight up just like by myself predicted what was going to happen in the next scene. It was like that's how simple fucking Disney is. They're simple. But you're right. This there is mention of the Empire, but no lightsabers. None of that stuff. It could be a generic sci-fi thing. And you know what? This is where Disney should have started 10 years ago. Little late now.
Yeah.
Little late now. Mark Wilkins for $25. Find how long have you to find out how long you have to sue. Ask a local attorney to look up the statutories and the limitations, then wait for them to have some sort of a crisis, then drop the service process on them in the middle of their crisis. Ooh, that's cold-blooded. That's very lawyer thinking of you.
Do that, Gary. You really need to be, I just feel like it's something also, for the fellowship. Like this is, I mean, it's also partly like why I became a fan of you and everyone else is just people coming after you. And I'm like, hey, I don't always agree with this guy, but people going after you over your opinion, like just annoyed the shit out of me. It was just like, fuck that. Like so that bothered me a lot. Like, because I know just because you spend a lot of time in a comic book shop, what do people do? They talk shit to each other. They disagree on things, lots of different opinions. To me, the joy in that is the conversation. The joy is the conversation, right? Like, there's a lot of arguments you can have, like no one's right, no one's necessarily wrong. It just people experience things differently. And but I do look for that. I actually like a lot of opinions that differ from my own, just because I want to hear what other people are saying, want to hear what people are thinking. And but what they've done is just it's straight up it was malicious. It was malicious, intended to hurt your business. And so I really think you drop something, it wouldn't be that difficult to just like file suit and then do discovery, and a lot of things will come out. Like you don't even need to spend a lot of money to make their lives freaking miserable.
When all's like, I mean, essentially, I just want to be left alone.
I get it.
You can have your opinion. Let us have ours. and we'll just motor along. I mean, like, you think that would be it, but it's not enough. So, I mean, for the Fellowship, for fans, absolutely. But I'd have to see it through. I'd have to, like, whether I won or lost, I would not settle. This thing would go to the bitter fucking end. And because, I mean, if you settle, it looks like you settle. You know, we just saw an example of that with Mark Wade and your boy Zach.
Mm-hmm.
They settled. I think that was a huge mistake. That was a massive mistake, and it pissed off a lot of people. It pissed off a lot of fucking people because if they felt sold out, especially since it was crowdfunded.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a course I would take personally. If I was going to go after him, I'd go after with my money. But yeah, I think a better opportunity will come up. I don't know what it is, but I think one. The word I got is we couldn't win, but I mean, we could certainly make their lives miserable.
It's really hard to prove. You probably would not win, but what you could do is make their lives so miserable that they would offer something, and it may be just taking the thing down or whatever. You could leverage it into
public something. Apology.
Yeah, something.
It would be a public apology.
Just corrections to that stuff. It's
to
so
fans, not to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like a really embarrassing one. A humbling one. Maybe they learned something from it. You never know.
Yeah.
Bethany for $3. I read that one. Beautiful beard. Thank you. X-Ray Girl, sweetheart. Chris, hi. Chris is a sweetheart too, Bob. Thanks for $10. All right, we're going to get the rest on the square up, which will be tomorrow if I get my videos done. Oh, wait, one more. Manowar 665, the neighbor of the beast. Love the second season of Primal. That being said, it better end there without completely spoiling the party. No, absolutely no need for the girl squad going forward. I know. I don't know if it's going to go past, I mean, like an animated show going past 2 seasons. I just want the last episode of Venture Brothers. Please let that happen. Please. Jackson Public, give us an update. Come on, bruh. Venture Brothers, it's the greatest. All right, we got a lot. So I'm going to have to, we have to do a square up tomorrow. It'll be recorded, okay? So look for it on Nerdrotic Live. It'll be recorded so I can get to, that gets me to the most super chats. Henry back to play for $9.99 to the Fellowship, to Chris and X-Ray Girl. Cheers. Cheers to you too.
Cheers.
Right. Sammy G for $10 says, please check out the Flash Glitz latest tune, Lord of the Rings, Pronouns of Power. What do you think, X-Ray Girl?
I think we may as well. It looks like a good video. I'm just gonna go to there's a lot of talking at the beginning, so 1 second.
Hey, Gary, real quick. Someone was harassing me in a good way on the Film Threat live stream, which I'm doing in 20 minutes. Why am I not on camera during your show? And it's because I'm on my couch, but I promised that I would show me on my couch. So is that okay?
Yeah. I don't care.
Like, I literally, when I do
pants on and they're somewhat clean, I'm fine.
I do have pants on. I'm kind of wearing what I wore to bed, but here I am, just in my hair is looking weird. This is, you can see stuff in my living room here.
Oh, I got that Chris Gore Fantastic Four book.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's good. It's really
good.
So this is my whole little living room setup, and I'm literally on my couch working on emails and doing stuff while I'm listening and paying attention and then chiming in with my opinion. But the reason is because I'm not gonna have time to change, or I'll change my shirt. But yeah, I'm on my couch when I do your show, and when I do other shows like Midnight's Edge, I'm in the morning. I'm on my couch, so I like to be off camera. Look, I don't even know what Mahler looks like. You know, like some people never go on camera, or Yellow Flash. I don't know what Yellow Flash looks like, but
he looks like Junk 3PO.
It's Jay.
That's right. He looks like Junk 3PO. So there. So I keeping my promise here. I'm on camera, and you can see some of the. I'm really proud of this fantastic planet. Like that's a bootleg action figure there from the animated movie Fantastic Planet.
Oh, dude, that is such a trippy movie.
Love that movie. I saw that when I was way too young.
I did too. I was way too young and way too high. The pronouns of power. Here we go.
Oh no.
Okay, let's go.
It began with the forging of the great pronouns. 3 were given to the twinks, slender, androgynous, and queerest of all beings. 7 to the power bottoms, great reverse miners and plunderers of the chocolate halls. And 9 pronouns were gifted to women with septum piercings, who above all else desire power. For within these pronouns was bound the strength and will to govern each space. But they were all of them deceived. For another pronoun was made.
Uh-oh.
In the land of Tweeter, in the fires of Mount Fire, the Dark Lord they-them forged in secret a master pronoun, and into this pronoun they-them poured they-them's cruelty, they-them's malice, and they-them's will to dominate all life. One pronoun to rule them all.
What does it say, Frodo?
I don't understand it. I don't understand, Gandalf.
That's because it's stupid.
Another hobbit! Well, fancy
Oh,
finding you here. Why don't you come on a little adventure with us to our second channel where we're picking up...
there you go.
Awesome.
That was
Flash
brilliant.
That was
bliss.
Brilliant. I loved it.
Well done. Well done. That was great. Oh, thanks everybody. Chris got to go to his live stream. I got to make videos. X-ray girl's got to X-ray breasts or whatever you X-ray. I don't know.
Every single body part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm inclusive, okay?
What does this say, Chris? What's up with your avatar? Did you send your hair out to dry cleaning? And why do you why do you love Andor so much? LOL, says John Yarmer for $10. You guys are funny.
Well, if you want to keep roasting me, I'll be on the film threat in 15 minutes. I just gotta make some lunch here. But yeah, no, I'll be there. It's great. And yeah, no, the avatar is like I went on Fiverr and they could like take a photo of you and make it into like a Funko Pop. I did this like 10 years ago. And so I don't know, just seemed like a funny one to use.
There you go. Yeah, because it's so popular around here. Funko
Yeah,
Pop.
exactly. Funko Pop. I've never, here's the thing, I've never bought one, but I have a bunch of them because people
send them.
That's when people don't know what to buy you, they're like, I'll get you a Funko Pop. Please don't. I don't need them. So
we'll be back next Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Go if you want to head on over to Film Threat. They're starting up pretty damn soon. Sorry it took so long, Chris. And I'll be working on a House of the Dragon and a Marvel video. Then do tomorrow night at midnight. I'll be live for the Rings of Power episode 5. How fast the week has gone. Mahler will be joining us on Friday night. When is Drinker coming on? He said he was coming on.
Let me see the date. It's probably the week after.
Okay.
It's probably
Mahler,
it's Drinker next week.
We got Mahler, then Drinker. Shad will probably be on. We're gonna have too many people in there. We're gonna have to. Is Chrissy gonna be in this Friday?
I think so. From what
Did she watch the Rings of Power? Has she been keeping up with the Rings of Power?
I know on Sunday she says she's 2 behind. So.
Well, she has time to catch up.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see Frosk made her final stream. Sexism and unemployment. That was a great meme, by the way.
This morning, I was watching that with Az, and oh my god, it was hilarious. It was great.
I couldn't make it in. I tried, but I couldn't.
Oh, God,
all right, thanks everyone. We're just gonna go out cold. So appreciate you all. Thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left super chat and donation. That will be a square up sometime tomorrow.
And thanks, Gary, for including me.
Thank you all. And Friday Night Tights, Mahler, Shad, Shadow. I'm just gonna say Shad because he'll probably be there, and Disparu. Yeah. So it'll be the House of the Dragon crew, and then Sunday, House of the Dragon. That show.
So excited.
It's growing. That show is growing, which is amazing. So
that's what she said.
All right. Hey. So we'll end with let's end with Alex Jones. Where'd he go? There he is.
Do you want to take a life? Do you want to cross that line? Because it's a long way back from hell.